All right, folks, welcome in here. We are streaming live. It is 2:43 p.m. on this Sunday, December 28th, and we are tracking some severe weather here on this Sunday with a line of storms that's just getting going in the last hour. We're starting to see some of the first warnings being issued here, and this latest one that we're looking at here is coming to us basically down into Christian County. Now, we're talking about this cell here that is going to be coming into southwestern Macon County here. And this is an interesting scenario where you may look at things on radar and maybe they don't look as ominous there, but embedded in there are some weak circulations. And we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's actually getting what is known as a tornado possible tag. Which basically means, yes, this is generally going to exhibit characteristics of a normal severe thunderstorm warning, with a wind threat being the main thing, maybe some 60-mile-per-hour winds. But embedded within this, sometimes you can get a tornado. So the storm that we're looking at here is basically going to be south of Mount Auburn. It is going to be continuing there to the east there, moving at about a 45-mile-per-hour clip. But we'll put the loop on this for you so you can kind of get an idea of the movement that this thing is taking. And you can see it's almost kind of, east, northeast, okay? So it's going to come into southwestern Macon County, Blue Mound, towards the Booty area, Stonington under that severe thunderstorm warning. But just to give you kind of that wider view once again, we've got the storm coming in. You're looking at pretty much this whole area here. And then there's another warning that is occurring up here into portions of McLean County, or I should say Logan County, and now up into portions of DeWitt County, a new warning being issued up there. We're talking about right up here with our storm that is east of Atlanta, Hayworth, and over towards the Waynesville area. We've got meteorologist Jacob Dickey, who is out in the storm tracker. He told us that he's hearing about a tornado watch that is incoming here soon. So the Storm Prediction Center is going to be issuing a tornado watch here shortly. We've got a handful of warnings. We've got warnings all the way up here into McLean County. Storm getting ready to come through the Bloomington area right now. Storms from Atlanta, east of Atlanta to Waynesville under the warning. And okay, here we go. We've got a tornado warning now. All right, folks, stand by. We've got a tornado warning. Tornado warning. All right, bear with me here for a second, guys, because we're going to have to switch things over to where we go on air with this. So just stand by here, guys. We're going to be doing some on-air stuff here in just a moment. So I will just tell you this while we're waiting here. We do have a tornado warning. It is in effect into Christian County. Okay, we're talking about down near the Stonington area, between Edinburgh and Stonington. This comes right up to the Macon County line, right up to Blue Mound, just west of that. There's a little circulation that has occurred. And so what we're going to do here, I'm going to toss things over here briefly to meteorologist Jacob Dickey, who is out there right now on this storm, or they're tracking some of these storms. And Jacob, while I kind of get things ready to go here for the on-air portion, I'm going to toss things over to you. Just bear with me for a second as I pop you up. You're going to be live out there in the storm tracker. Jacob, go ahead and talk a little bit there. Tell us where you're at and what your plan of attack is out there today.
Yeah, hey, Kevin, we are coming into the east side of Decatur, looking west on 36. That tornado warning storm is in front of us and a little bit to the left here. The plan is to sneak down to Dalton City and then cut over to Macon to get a good look at that. And so that's what we'll be doing here momentarily. There is also a tornado watch that has just been issued for most of our area. That's in effect, I believe, till 8 o'clock. It won't last till 8 o'clock as that line comes on through, but we are certainly going to keep an eye on that. And so we'll be keeping a very close eye on all of these storms. Even though this one storm has a tornado warning, it doesn't mean that we won't have more. And so making that turn there. So we're watching the storm here. Again, it's going to be Stonington, Blue Mound, Edinburgh. It will be south of Mount Auburn. It does not include Taylorville, kind of the northern section of Christian County, and it comes up to the county line there, of course, for Macon County. Downstream, then it's going to be Macon, south parts of Decatur, Mount Zion. It'll be Long Creek, those areas that get in that here. I've turned south, and I'm continuing to watch things here. One thing that happened today, we had some questions about instability. The instability has been in place. In fact, a little better than forecast. We've got temperatures out there in the upper 60s, a little warmer than we initially thought. That little boost in temperatures is enough to help the instability values continue to rise. And so that's what we have helping our situation today. I'm heading south. I've got about 5 miles to the south, and then I'll be cutting towards Dalton City and making my way to Macon there. This tornado warning for Christian County. There are 3 storms, though, with severe thunderstorm warnings here. Of course, that's the radar right now showing that tornado warning there. If you're in Edinburgh, Stonington, living south of Mount Auburn, areas north of Taylorville, and whatnot, those are the areas that need to shelter. This does not include Taylorville. This does not include Morrisonville. This does not include really anywhere in Sangamon County either. The front is quickly coming through behind it, but that little nudge by the front helping to get some of that rotation going, and thus the tornado warning has been issued. In fact, if you are Edinburgh, Kincaid, and west, I think we can give you an all clear. The rotation now passing towards Stonington and Blue Mound, where that's heading there, and that tornado watch also in effect now until 8 p.m. Other storms up the line, we've got a blitz of severe thunderstorm warnings now for Macon, for DeWitt, and for Livingston counties here. A line of storms that has some winds moving with them pretty quickly. Those warnings now in effect, and they're moving about 45, 50 mile an hour. There are some little spots of rotation in that line as well. And so that's something that we have to watch and keep a close eye on. But you can see from Clinton through Bloomington up towards Fairbury and Chatsworth where the warnings are in effect right now. And so that's what we are going to have to watch with this as we move on through. Here's a look again in the storm tracker. We're heading south right now, maneuvering our way through southern Macon County to get in front of this storm. And it continues to move east-northeast. I think it's the southern parts of the county, but still, Decatur, places like that, kind of a close call, whether you'll be in or out of the next warning if it continues. I don't think there's much to stop it from continuing. It's ahead of the front. It's getting a little nudge from that front, and that can help things to pick up a little bit here. For those who might be familiar with where we are, I'm technically still in Moultrie County. Lake City is about a mile to my east, and passing south from there right now as we continue to deal with severe weather. We will be on TV momentarily. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy is in the studio. They're going to try and get this football game finished, but we can continue this coverage on our digital platforms. And so he is orchestrating behind the scenes to keep that going and get that taken care of. Then I am in the storm tracker. We've got Seth also helping kind of behind the scenes and on digital side of things. And so team coverage for you of this severe weather event. To get the ingredients needed for today, we really needed a strong low pressure system. That is happening. Behind the front, the winds are particularly strong as they move on through the front. The northwest wind gusts are being reported 40 to 50 miles per hour. And those gusts are showing up pretty quickly here in the area. And those gusts also are, listening to Kevin real fast here. All right, sounds good. I'll send it back to you, Kevin, and stand by on our digital platforms.
All right, folks, welcome in 2:53 p.m. Cutting in here to inform you about some severe weather moving across parts of central Illinois. We have tornado warnings that have been issued here for Christian County. Tornado warning here with circulation being seen on a storm that is located just to the north of Stonington. We see the storm here moving to the east and eventually is going to be heading into portions of Macon County here before too long. And so you've got Stonington there. It comes right up to Blue Mound, of course, which is there into southwestern Macon County. Circulation being noted with our storm there that we have been monitoring. We have a slew of other warnings as well. We've been watching storms up here into McLean County. Storm just came through the Lexington area, Bloomington, also into DeWitt County, from Randolph to Hayworth, a pretty strong storm up there. And so we're watching several locations right now. You can put a little bit of a loop on this, and you can see the multiple cells that we are monitoring. These are all going to be moving into an area where essentially the atmosphere is primed for the potential for tornadoes to form. As a matter of fact, the Storm Prediction Center just issued a tornado watch pretty much covering almost the entire area. And so this is going to go through this evening. Okay. And so we're looking at this tornado watch as well. Any of these storms are going to have the potential to produce a tornado. All of this whole area. So if you're watching us right now in Piatt County, if you're watching us in Champaign, Coles County, Vermilion County, there's nothing going on in your area at this time, okay? What we're looking at are storms that are back here into Christian County. All of these along this entire line are going to have a little bit of rotation associated with them, which could allow for that tornado to spawn. It is warm out there, folks. Temperatures are in the it is almost 70 degrees out there in some spots, okay? And so we've got some really good ingredients that are in place here. We've got the circulation with this that is going to be just northwest of Stonington, is what the Weather Service is kind of talking about here, essentially located just in the, what we're going to do is kind of show it to you when we look at what is known as the velocity on this. And you're going to see some of these reds and greens kind of getting close to one another. And so essentially where some of that rotation is going to be right about here, okay? And so if you're out in this general area right now, you need to be taking shelter, okay? We're talking about rotation on this storm. So here's Stonington down here. You got Grove City. Here's Blue Mound. So our rotation is right about here with the storm. So that's actually going to be near County Road 1600 East, North 1600 East Road. And that's where the rotation is with our storm that could produce a tornado. Circulation showing up with that as it moves here to the northeast. Once again, we'll put a little bit of a loop on this and show it to you. So Blue Mound, just kind of down the line, Blue Mound, I want you guys kind of paying attention there. You get over that, crosses over Highway 48 in southwestern Macon County, and that is going to be our next area of concern with that storm as it begins to move into the area. So once again, we've got a tornado watch in effect for essentially all of us now. And right now, the most immediate concern is with this storm here that is now going to be pushing into southwestern Macon County, just between Stonington to the Blue Mound area. We're watching that move off there into southwestern Macon County. And this whole line of storms we're going to be keeping an eye on. What we're going to do here is I'm going to pull up some of our various weather cameras that we've got. And first off here, I'm going to see, we're going to fire up our Decatur camera and take a look at it. That was the view just a little bit earlier over into Springfield, but in our Decatur camera. And what we're going to do is we're going to start to kind of point that thing a little bit more to the south and west. Right now, we are not seeing a lot. There's some rain, but there's a little bit of a clearing there. You can see a little pocket there. And so we're going to be watching that carefully to see how this evolves in the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. The other awesome part to our coverage that we're going to be able to have for you, and this is something new. Now, we've always been out in the storm tracker. We've always been out there to kind of show you things. But what we're able to do now is on the weather map, we can actually plot where the storm tracker is. And in this case, meteorologist Jacob Dickey is out there. And you can see, you're going to be able to watch his progression and see where he is at on the storm. So he's actually over in the Dalton City area right now. And so he's getting in position for that storm. So you can see that's where Jacob is located right now. And so he's going to be positioning himself right there into southern Macon County as that storm comes across. And you can see they've trimmed back that tornado warning just slightly there into eastern Christian County, northeastern Christian County. They've not carried it off into Macon County just yet. They've still got that whole box is a severe thunderstorm warning with what is known as a tornado possible tag. Okay, so that means that the potential is there for a tornado to form, even if it's just considered to be a severe thunderstorm. If we can, if Jacob is with us, we can bring him in here in just a second as he is positioning himself, as we just mentioned, kind of see his location where he's at. Jacob, you're still a good, 15 miles away there, but as you look off there to the west, kind of tell us what you've been encountering there. And boy, it is warm, right? The moisture is in place, and it does not feel like a December 28th day. Give us a little bit about your location, what your kind of plan is there as we approach the 3 o'clock hour on this Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, Kevin, you're right about that. It does not feel like late December here. First off, we've had a little sunshine earlier in areas ahead of the storm, and temperatures have been just a little warmer than forecast. We're kind of on that fine line with the instability. There's a lot of wind shear, a lot of wind energy. A number of you are commenting saying, yeah, the wind is blowing pretty heavily out of the south here. And behind the front, when it picks up, that's going to be a story in of itself. But along the head of that front is where the severe weather is. We're moving west now from Dalton City. We'll be coming into the Macon area soon. And I think that's where we'll sit as the storm comes towards us here. The atmosphere ripe for severe weather, that extra instability allowing storms to tap into the wind energy aloft. And so this is the first storm that's rotating. There are other storms with smaller, weaker areas of rotation that haven't quite made that threshold for tornado warning. What I like about this storm, Kevin, and just keeping a tabs on the radar, is this storm is a little bit ahead of the cold front, and that may give it a little extra time, a little extra energy to continue to rotate as it continues moving into the Blue Mound area, eventually towards Macon. Will be heads up for Mount Zion, Long Creek, Dalton City as this storm continues to move in that direction. No tornado warning yet, Kevin, but that may be coming very soon. Live in the storm tracker just to the west of Dalton City, heading towards Macon, I'm Jacob Dickey. We'll send it back to you.
All right. Perfect. Thanks a lot, Jacob. Appreciate the report out there. Going to give us again those live views, as we always do, out in the storm, showing you guys with the camera what's going on, okay? And he's going to be in that perfect position to do that. Here's the thing. This whole line, it's starting to intensify a little bit more all along, stretching all the way down to Taylorville, all the way up to Booty right now. We're watching that very carefully as these storms are going to continue to strengthen as they move into an area of instability. And instability is basically the fuel for thunderstorms. And we've got some of that out there. It's not a lot. This is not a typical, April, May event or, a June event where you can get a lot of what we call instability. But we've got enough shear in the atmosphere, okay, combined with some instability. It's enough to get storms to rotate. Okay, and that's the concern here today. It's a unique setup. It's a very small window. It's basically over the next 2 hours or so that we think that a tornado could form anywhere along the line that we're looking at here. And so we're going to be watching this. Decatur right now, you've just got some general rain, but you can see there we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning that they issued. This is a huge area. So this encompasses all of the rest of Macon County there, essentially, into portions of DeWitt County, into Piatt County. That's a new severe thunderstorm warning with also the tornado possible tag, okay? Let's see here. I'm just reading some stuff with the Weather Service. They're talking about instability and shear is becoming more favorable ahead of the broken line of storms. Storm intensity has increased, expecting more severe weather activity as the line moves into east central Illinois. Okay, so here we go. Several counties now under severe thunderstorm warnings with what is known as a tornado possible tag associated with it. Any of these storms could produce a tornado in association with the strong winds and the heavy rainfall and some of the lightning there. But right now, where the circulation has been most prominent and noted a little bit more has been on our storm here that is now moving more into the Macon County area. And they just reissued this tornado warning, extended it as it is now into Macon County. So the same one that was in Christian County, that one pretty much you can probably let your guard down on that, because now the new tornado warning is now into Macon County. Blue Mound, take shelter, Booty, Elwyn to Macon. If you're anywhere there east of 48 or along 48 all the way to Highway 51, that's the area of concern. And now you can kind of see there on your screen, there's Jacob. His icon is always going to be updating, kind of showing his position so you can kind of see where he is at. This is something exclusive here that we have here to bring and show you guys. We've been doing severe weather coverage for a long time. This isn't our first rodeo. We've done this many a times with, putting one of us out there to show you guys the storm. But now you can see him on the weather map, so you can get an idea of his position when we talk to him and kind of see what he's seeing out there as well. So that's a view that we're going to be getting here from Jacob in just a little bit. Jacob, you're getting closer there. You're going to be coming into Macon and that storm. Now you're in the tornado warned area. Tell us what you're seeing out there right now.
Yeah, Kevin. So something that really a pretty view here. You can actually see some of those rays of sunlight making it through the clouds ahead of this. And we've been dealing with that, which is helping those instability values to rise. I'm about 2 miles to the east of Macon now, working my way in that direction. I think there's going to be a couple of things that work against us from getting a better view. One, it's really dark and there's not a lot of contrast with things here. So we may struggle to make out features until the storm is really close to us. We've got the radar. We've also got great visibility out here. Corn and beans this time of year, they aren't up. So the fields are cut and clean, and that's good news for us here. But we're going to stop here, probably on the east side of town. I've got a great road also that'll take me back to the east as this storm works its way towards Mount Zion and towards Dalton City and eventually towards US 36. And so we'll be keeping an eye there as well. Southern Piatt, northern Moultrie County next in line, but currently the focus for this storm on southern Macon County. It looks like it's from basically Lake Decatur south is in that polygon, Kevin, and the area of rotation is in front of me, but my ability to see that, some of it is the sunlight that's kind of muffling the sky a little bit. But as I get around this farmhouse here and pan to the right, you can see that dark sky, the contrast that is out there. It is going to be a little challenging for us to make out much, but we'll do our best. And as the storm gets a little closer to us here, Kevin, we'll bring you a report from the Storm Tracker. Live just outside of Macon in the Storm Tracker, this is Jacob Dickey. We'll send it back to you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jacob. Appreciate it. So here we go. Here's our storm. Here's what we're watching. Let's show you some of so that's the updated radar view. And this thing's starting to pick up speed a little bit here, folks. And so we're going to be watching this between Blue Mound and Macon now is where that rotation is located. And you need to be in your tornado safe spot anywhere into southern Macon County right now. This does kind of barely clip the south side of Decatur, but the more specific areas that we are concerned with is going to be between Blue Mound, Booty, and Macon as of right now. That area is where that circulation is at. So essentially what I can do is just kind of point that out to you. It's going to be right about here. Okay, folks, that's your rotation right here. It's going to be coming close to the Booty area. And these storms are starting to pick up on their speed. The motion of these things are going to start to fly pretty good. Might have some 60-mile-an-hour, moving storms here. And so you essentially are going to have to almost kind of treat it as if, you look at what you've got on the radar view there and then treat it as well. It might be just a little bit more to the east than even what the radar is plotting there because, sometimes there's a minute or two delay. Tornado sirens are going off in many areas right now. The biggest concern that we've got, obviously, is going to be for southern portions of Macon County, where the tornado warning is in effect, staying in effect here. And this is going to stretch all the way over there to the Dalton City. I'm just going to kind of show you the wide view so you can see all of the counties that we've got that are under at least a severe thunderstorm warning. So this entire line is going to have the potential for strong winds, but also embedded within any of these could be a tornado. But right now, the one that we're the most concerned about is going to be southern Macon County. It's going to be near Booty, coming towards Elwyn and Macon. So we're watching this carefully there. Jacob, I can see your camera there. It's a lot darker where you're at there. I'm going to toss it over to you and look at that view there. Yeah, you're starting to get that view. You can almost kind of see that little bit of a shelf there. You know, go ahead and kind of give us a little bit more on the view of what you're seeing.
Yeah, so Kevin, we're finally getting that sunlight to be filtered out from in front of us and making out some of the clouds here. I tend to think, looking at radar and where that rotation is, I don't know if we'll be able to see that. It may be that wall of rain that comes first, but it is still ominous in the leading edge there. And it is picking up speed. That is very evident to me as well. We're looking at Macon from about a mile and a half to the east of town. So we're looking back to the west, and a little bit north there is where that rotation is. A very close call for Macon, Booty as well. And this may lift more into the northern side of the polygon, which would carry it deeper into the Decatur metro area. So Mount Zion and Long Creek, my concern becoming a little higher for you. Also Elwyn on the south side of Decatur. That's an area that I'm becoming concerned about. And so we're going to have to watch this really closely, Kevin. I don't know if I'm going to stay here long. I want to stay ahead of these storms so we can keep giving you reports. But I wanted to give you this vantage point from where we are watching this rotating storm capable of producing a tornado at any time in southern Macon County. Live outside of the city of Macon, south of Decatur, I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. We'll send it back to you.
Great view, great report. Again, to give you guys a little bit of a better understanding of where Jacob is at, his icon will update there live, and you can see there he is trying to stay ahead of the storm, giving us the view, because once you get into it, you can't see anything. Or if you get on the backside of it, you can't see anything. And so he has got that nice view that you're getting there just ahead of the storm. But it's going to start to pick up on the speed pretty good. And again, you can see right there, that's his shot. We've got his shot up there. And so what you look for there is, you know, a little bit of a lowering, you know, a funnel of some kind. You know, you look for some rotation. And so he's got it kind of zoomed in there. And so he's going to be kind of keying in on that area and see if he can see anything there. Again, the contrast, possibly not the greatest today, so it can be difficult, almost looking, you know, a little embedded there. And so it will be difficult to kind of see anything, but he's going to do his best to kind of give us those views of the storm as that stretches between Booty and Macon, where some of that best rotation is, right between Booty and Macon. It's going to cross over Highway 51 in the next 10 minutes or so as that continues to race off to the east. And so if you are in the southern portion of Decatur on the south side of town, we talked about Elwyn there. Definitely be paying attention. Booty to Macon. All right, so Jacob is going to continue to move so he can stay ahead of the storm. We'll continue to track his movement out there here with us. Again, folks, it is 3:11 p.m. and it's a Sunday afternoon, and we are here providing you live coverage of severe weather as it moves across portions of the WCIA viewing area. It is raining really good in Decatur. Let's show you the view from Decatur now. That's our camera in Decatur as the heavy rainfall is coming down there on the south side of town. And so we're starting to get some reduced visibility out there as that heavy rain really starts to kick in. Again, it's just south of Decatur where that rotation is. It's going to come kind of ripping across there on the south side, probably closer to the Long Creek and Mount Zion areas more than anything, but you're definitely still getting a pretty good little thunderstorm there right into downtown Decatur, where our camera is located here at this time. But again, some of the rotation is going to be just south there, but moving to the north and to the east. And so heavy rainfall continuing to come down there. We'll just kind of move the camera around. Visibility is obviously being reduced there with just how heavy some of that rain is. But that is the live view right now indicator as we look at things there into Macon County. Again, severe thunderstorm warning here. You can see just how heavy some of that rain is falling at this point. We're watching the Mount Zion Long Creek area. That's where we're going to be looking at next. That looks to be the next thing here that we're kind of concerned about. If you're watching us anywhere between Mount Zion, Long Creek, basically kind of north of Macon, east of Booty now, is going to be the general area of concern where we might have a tornado. Okay, I'll kick things back over to the radar view once again. There we go. Multiple warnings here up and down. I don't want to discount some of the other areas we've been watching. More of a severe thunderstorm warning threat up here into portions of Livingston County, up here, eastern McLean County. Soon it'll be Ford County, Farmers City. We'll be watching you guys there with that storm. It's got a severe thunderstorm warning. Weldon, be on the lookout with this storm that's coming in. Cisco, Argenta, Orienta, that whole line. But we continue to be focused in on this southern cell. This is the one that has had more of the rotation, more than any other storm at this point. And so when we look at this, the concern is there that a tornado could form. The tornado warning continues here. Mount Zion, this thing's starting to, pick up on speed. It's going to be on top of you there. It's going to be coming into the Long Creek area. Mount Zion, that's where some of the rotation is. Definitely be taking shelter if you are in that location. Here's the thing. If this thing continues to move off to the east, just a heads up down the line there, okay, southern portions of Piatt County, northwestern portions of Moultrie County, just kind of, have you guys be on alert here in the next few minutes as well, in case this warning gets issued further to the east as these storms are picking up on some of their speed. Because it does seem like these are starting to kick up just a little bit more for us here. Again, moving into Mount Zion, you can see where the Decatur Airport there is on the southeast side of town. So Long Creek, Mount Zion, that area right there. And the circulations can happen quick with this, okay? And you're not, as I mentioned earlier, going to be able to exactly see things with the contrast being a little bit rougher today with just kind of the conditions that we've got in the atmosphere. But these storms are going to continue to move off to the east. And I just want to show you guys, if you're in Champaign, if you're in Tuscola, if you're in Charleston, Mattoon, nothing going on right now. Okay, it's this one big long line. It's a thin one. It's not really wide, but it's a thin one. But anywhere along this entire line, we've got warnings associated with these thunderstorms, mainly severe thunderstorm warnings with the tornado possible tag. But the strongest storms look to be kind of coming here across southern Macon County right now as we speak. Let's see if we can look at some of the velocity on this. And here's what we'll switch over. We're going to look at some of these reds and greens, okay? And we look at is essentially where those sort of come together. And where that's going to be is right about here near the Elwyn area. And that's where some of that rotation is currently located. Okay. And so if you are in that area, that's where we're looking at the potential for a tornado to form. And then that's going to run straight off there to the east on Elwyn Road, basically that goes right into Mount Zion. So between Elwyn and Mount Zion, that is an area of concern that we've got at this point. Be in your tornado shelter if you are there. Long Creek as well. That is the location that we're watching. The rotation right. Let me see here. We're looking at the new updated scan here. We're looking at some pretty good rotation that is just to the west of Mount Zion. Just west of Mount Zion. This might even be wrapped in rain a little bit, it looks like, okay? I'm waiting for our next scan to come across. But right there west of Mount Zion, I think we might have some decent rotation on that storm, and it could be wrapped in rain, so it's going to be difficult to see. I'm going to wait for my next scan to come across here. We've got a tornado report. Let's see here. Okay, Jacob telling us, Jacob got a report of a tornado?
Yeah, Kevin, wanted to let you know my buddy Luke Zimmerman, he has a video of a tornado on the ground in the Blue Mound area, a little spin up in the field there. And I'll see, I think I could get that in a second here, but it touched down there earlier. So there has been spotter observed tornado with the storm as it's been moving on through. I want to real quick, we're looking behind me. That's looking to the west. I'm going to show you also in front of me. And this is looking ahead. There's some blue sky with this, Kevin. That's a little bit of an issue, I think, with ahead of this. We're now getting these storms into the best ingredients that are out there. And so that's a concern that we have with these storms as they continue to move on into the area. They're moving into their most favorable conditions now, Kevin. And so that's the concern that we have as these storms are working their way on through. I'm rolling into Dalton City. I'm going to get through town, Kevin, and head north and try and watch this approach Mount Zion. But wanted to let you know, Luke Zimmerman, my buddy here, had the tornado reported on the ground, and so that's what we will be based on there. He had just let me know, said, hey, I got one, and so I wanted to pass that report on to you, Kevin. In fact, here we can see that tornado there from him earlier. That's showing up as it crossed the Blue Mound area, Kevin. So that's what we got. So I wanted to send that report to you. And with that, Kevin, I'm in the Dalton City area. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, thanks. I'm just doing some analyzing here of our storm just west of Mount Zion. We may have potentially a drop in basically what we call the correlation coefficient. We note it as a debris signature. Okay. And so that's showing up right here west of Mount Zion. Okay. This area here, essentially what the radar is doing, it's looking at the objects that it's hitting, usually raindrops, a hailstone. Sometimes it can give us a little bit of an indication that, hey, this is not the normal shape of a raindrop or a hailstone. This is something different. This is something that is not the normal shape. Sometimes that can be trees, sheet metal, okay? That means that something might have been hit by a tornado. And we're seeing maybe that, and I'm trying to confirm this here, but potentially a little bit of okay, there it is, confirmed tornado here. So we've got the drop in what is known as the correlation coefficient, the debris signature that's showing up. We have a tornado right now, Long Creek. It is imperative to you, if you are anywhere there, Long Creek, over to now on the southeast side of town, the Decatur Airport, Lost Bridge Road, Baltimore Avenue, Airport Road. You need to be in shelter right now. We have an active tornado right now, confirmed tornado with damage that debris has been lofted into the air. That's what you're looking at right here. This essentially is the confirmation that a tornado has hit something, taken that debris, the radar beam is hitting it, and it is telling us, in fact, a tornado has occurred here. Somewhere probably south and west of Mount Zion. Now that debris continue to be picked up. Long Creek, this is heading in your direction. Long Creek, take shelter right now as this storm comes in. Okay, guys, this is a very dangerous situation coming into southeastern Macon County right now. Essentially, we have, there's going to be some type of damage there, basically on Elwyn Road, most likely there between Elwyn and Mount Zion is where that tornado would have occurred. And that right there is your tornado debris signature. Now, when this updates, if it carries on, that would be more of a confirmation that the tornado is ongoing. But you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. This also would be, what I'm looking at, would be pretty rain wrapped, tough to see anything. If you're out there, you're not going to see much there, but this is a strong storm. Jacob, you're out there here. I'm going to try to, plot your location on here. Just give me 1 second here. And we're going to go back out to Jacob. But the debris signature is showing up. That is high confidence for us. And that's why the Weather Service, you're going to see the warning has gone to the purple. And so when you get this purple box, that essentially is confirmed. This is no longer Doppler radar reported. This is going to be a storm there that has a confirmed tornado. So there's Jacob. There's Jacob's position right there. We go to Jacob right now. He's going to be looking into the storm. Jacob, what do you see? I know it's tough to see things there, but you're coming into that storm. Go ahead and give us a report.
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. I'm about southeast, I should say east-southeast of Mount Zion, moving north from Dalton City, about 4 miles from US 36. This is going to be coming very close to the airport. I think it's going to be just south of the airport. There's a shopping district there, McDonald's and some other places, heading right for that, maybe just south and east of the airport. And it's going to pass very close in front of us. Now, I've got the camera pointed to the left. I think it's going to be wrapped up in rain here, Kevin, which is going to make it very challenging for us to see that move on through. But you're right, strong signature of a tornado impacting Mount Zion and Long Creek right now. I think at any moment, Kevin, we're going to punch through this rain here, try and get a look in at what's going on, and then we'll be heading east on US 36. So we're going to have an update close, Kevin. We're moving in to intercept this and see what's going on. We will get back to you, Kevin.
All right, so once again, there's Jacob. He is right there on the storm. You can see exactly his location where he's at. That circulation is going to be up here just to his north and west, okay? You've got it right in here. You can't, so here's why you can't always use what we call reflectivity. This is the normal view that you get. You look at that and you go, okay, where's the tornado? Where is it? Well, you can't quite tell because, again, just the way that this storm has developed, it's wrapped in rain. So we got to look closer. And there it is. See where the reds and greens are right there next to one another? That right there is your tornado, okay? You're going to have that tornado right there where that rotation is showing up, okay, folks? So Long Creek is here. The airport is just up here. You definitely need to be in your tornado safe spot because it is a confirmed tornado here that's going to be between Long Creek, going to be heading towards between Long Creek and the airport. Okay, so you see that location that we're looking at right there between Long Creek and the airport. Tornado confirmed with this and moving off to the northeast. If you are in southeastern Macon County, you need to be taking shelter here. You're not going to be able to, fully see this as you may, typically, would. Or it isn't like what you see in the movies, what you see on TV. You're not going to see the big funnel, kind of coming down. It's going to be wrapped and obscured in rain. It's going to look like a dark cloud, so you can't even see it. But here we go. Long Creek, and Jacob, just for your information there, well, we're popping in and out of your signal a little bit, but when we get a little stable, we will come to you there. But right now, what we've got here is a confirmed tornado, and we're watching it here on radar. There is the circulation with the storm. It is moving to the northeast, and we kind of I can put the loop on this, so you kind of get an idea of the direction that this storm is going. And I'm going to add this just a little bit more. Okay, put the loop on this, and you can see here's our storm moving off to the east. So basically between the airport and Long Creek, and we just got the new updated scan that's kind of coming in here. It looks like some of that rotation may now be just east of Long Creek on the new scan that's coming in. Let me just kind of look at some. Yeah, it's going to be just east of Long Creek now is where some of that rotation is located. So you're looking at it right here, okay? Just east of town. Here's your rotation with the storm. And here's the thing. The Weather Service is going to have to potentially extend this off here to the east because now, Jacob, go ahead. Jacob, we got Jacob here.
Hey, the tornado is on the ground in front of me. I can see it wrapped in the rain curtains there. I had the window down peeking. It is right in front of me, straight west of my location now, continuing to move on through. I have not seen any power flashes, but I could see rapid rotation in those rain curtains straight in front right there where this is. So continuing to see that tornado now in the Long Creek area. We're going to be heading east on 36 here in a second, Kevin, but wanted to let you know tornado still in the contact with the ground at this point. Kevin, back to you.
Okay, so Jacob has got the view there of the storm. You kind of see it there. It's starting to come into view just a little bit there. It's tough to see. I mean, just look at that. Look how difficult it is to kind of see anything in there. But you're seeing some of that rotation, kind of the rain curtains there. But that looks to be the tornado right there that we're looking at there. All right. Okay, on the ground, right in front of him there. Okay, there we go. So, okay, here's the view here. The storm is going to be coming across. Jacob is out there. There's your tornado right there. See it right there, right in the middle of your screen. Right in the middle of your screen, you can see it right there, coming right across. That's the live view right now. That's a tornado right now east of Long Creek. Tornado east of Long Creek. It's passing
Kevin,
right
if you can
there.
hear me, I'm about a quarter mile south of it. We are in a safe place. There is debris flying through the air. Tornado continues passing just north. It's going to be on the Dalton City Road in 36 on the east side of Long Creek. Moving through right now, Kevin.
Dalton City Road, east of Long Creek. There's your tornado right there. It's crossing the road. Look, you can see, we saw it there briefly, but now, again, embedded in rain. It's tough to see, but it's crossing right over the highway there that Jacob is on. Are you on, what's your highway there again, Jacob?
It's the road that goes to Dalton City straight south. I don't think it's a U.S. highway or a state highway, but it's crossing 36 right east of town. It's going to be right before the curves on the east side of Long Creek there, just in front of us.
Yep, gotcha. So we've got it here. If we can, just for a second, Come back to Max 2 here, because I've got him plotted on where he's at, and so you can see there's Jacob, and the tornado are going to be passing just in front of him, just to his north, where that red area is. You can see that's 36. That's right there. There's the curves. Okay, so it just ripped right across there. So there's Jacob location. He was looking right into the storm. That right there was the tornado. You briefly kind of saw some of that rotation there as it came across. Tornado was right there east of Long Creek, and that's where it was, right there. Precise location. Jacob was right on the storm there, giving us the view. You saw how difficult it was to actually even see anything. It was right there, and then briefly it comes across. Now, these are smaller circulations in comparison to maybe some other ones that we typically see, but still can do damage. And so there you go. Tornado warning continues. They've got the confirmation there. Now we're talking about southern Piatt County, between Cerro Gordo, the place you guys need to be in your tornado safe spot now as the tornado warning continues here. Confirmed tornado. We just showed it to you live on the air here at about 3:28 p.m. So now this thing still on the ground, going to the east, and once again, still very much rain wrapped, still very difficult to see anything, with the naked eye there. Jacob did a great job there positioning himself in the safe spot there to let that thing kind of pass right in front of him. But the tornado warning does continue now. If you live between Cerro Gordo, all the way down to the southwestern portions of Piatt County, a little more rural area down there, but kind of west of Hammond, that area, you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. It is imperative. We have confirmation of a tornado. We have debris being lofted into the air. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly where this tornado is, because we have a very distinct and evident what is known as a debris signature. Okay, and so here is our debris signature. Okay, that's where the tornado has been. I'm just going to back this up here just a little bit. And right there, a debris signature. Okay, there it is. That's where we've got the tornado. Okay, folks? And so the concern is there for this to continue to move off here to the east. Once again, Jacob, we're gonna pop back over to you. Seeing your view there, you're now going to be kind of trailing behind that storm, but maybe having a little bit of a view there. What do you got?
Yeah, Kevin, so this storm is rain wrapped. We were able to get through the rain curtains and get a peek at it now. It's clearing past Decatur, so Mount Zion and Long Creek. We don't know anything about damage, but I would avoid those areas because the radar shows that. We're likely going to get those reports. We've got to talk about who's next here, and I want to get some help from you too, Kevin. I'll be in LaPlace in 3 miles. I may head north in 32 and snake my way towards Cerro Gordo in that general direction. So that's what I'll do here. You're looking at where the tornado would be. We won't have a great vantage point of it here, but the clouds are clearly streaming into that, and it is probably still on the ground, but we can't give visual confirmation. The radar is probably going to be the best way, but we'll try and get close, get another view of that for you here, Kevin, as this dangerous storm works its way now towards Piatt County. Live near LaPlace, I'm Jacob Dickey. Back to you.
LaPlace there, we've got a really good signature on this now. When you look at the velocity, it's right there. That is the rotation. So here's Oakley up here. LaPlace is down here, okay? Long Creek was over here where the storm passed through. Very distinct rotation, okay? I think we probably still have a tornado that is ongoing here, okay, folks? Tornado right here, because then we can kind of line it up with that debris signature. It's kind of getting scattered a little bit. But when I look at just the velocity on its own, it's basically telling us what direction are the winds going, okay? And so when you've got these reds and greens kind of right there, and that's going to be sitting right there on the county line now, right on the Macon and Piatt County line. If you're in Cerro Gordo, if you live between Cerro Gordo and LaPlace, be in your tornado safe spot right now. It's literally sitting on the county line. It is coming across there just south of Cerro Gordo. Down the line, Bement. I want you guys to get into your tornado safe spot as well. If you live between Cerro Gordo and Bement, just down the line of this would continue here. If it would continue off to the north and to the east, something to be watching there. So basically, western portions of Macon, or of Piatt County now. That's where it is. And once again, you can't see it. The tornado is literally embedded in what you're looking at here. Where's the tornado at? if you just look at this by radar, you'd be like, that's tough. This isn't the typical kind of kidney bean shape, the typical kind of hook echo. It's all embedded in this rain. It would be very difficult to see. So what do we have to use? Well, watch this. We switch over to the velocity, and then suddenly it reveals itself where some of that rotation would be located, right about there, right on the county line. It's right here on the Macon and Piatt County line, and it's going up here to the north and to the east. So here we go. Familiar with southern Piatt County? There's 32, Cerro Gordo, LaPlace, Mill Mine, there's Bement, and the Voorhees area. Okay, this is the area of concern where the tornado warning is in effect and where we continue to have a potential ongoing tornado that is wrapped in rain, difficult to see anything. Where is the storm going to be going here over the next half an hour or so? Well, essentially, we're looking at the rest of southern Piatt County, eventually off into Champaign County. Jacob, you're kind of getting into some of the rain there. What are you seeing as you're starting to approach that storm again?
Yeah, Kevin, I decided to go a little bit east from the place. I don't think I was going to catch it, but I've been able to make it out some. We're looking east right now. The wind is just hauling from the south into the circulation. It is feeding. It is not done yet. This is going to be heading towards Bement. I was debating about going all the way to Bement, Kevin, and heading north from there. So kind of plan my options. There's not a lot of good ones at this point because of the heavy rain reducing our visibility. And some of those wind gusts have been really pushing me across the road. So I'm going to make an attempt to get to the north here soon, but we will see how things play out. This is a dangerous situation for a little bit, Kevin. I can see the rotation in the rain just about a minute ago. So I think it's safe to consider this still on the ground as it moves into Piatt County. Live in the storm tracker heading towards Hammond, I'm Jacob Dickey. Back to you.
Okay, so what we can do is show you guys again Jacob's location. So we've been on the storm tracker for many years, providing you live coverage, showing you those pictures, but maybe you didn't always know where he's at. Well, now there's his icon, and it updates live there. It's something exclusive that we've built in to our weather computers here to plot where he's at. And so you can see there he is. He's basically there, continuing off there to the east. And he's going to be heading towards Hammond to try to get back ahead of the storm. So right now, the tornado warn part of the storm is still up here into Piatt County. So he's going to get up here towards Hammond and then maybe eventually up there towards Atwood there and maybe get back ahead of the storm if he can, to continue to give us reports or shoot to the north there towards Bement. But that, again, is the view that he's getting. So let's kind of reset things here a little bit, okay? We've been on here for about an hour or so tracking our storms, and here's what we've got, folks. Huge line, basically now from Gibson City all the way down now west of Champaign. All of these areas here have severe thunderstorm warnings associated with them. Right there in the center, though, what we've got is that tornado warning there for southern Piatt County. If you are between Hammond and Bement, and basically Cerro Gordo, you need to be in your tornado safe spot here right now. Jacob, you've got a report coming into us. Let us know what you got.
Yeah, hey, Kevin, I'm texting you a photo. It's from Gibson City. The roof has been ripped off of Dairyland Seed in Gibson City from strong winds. We're talking a lot about the tornado threat, but the strong winds are clearly a problem elsewhere in the area. And so that is from strong winds. And something that we need to just watch here. I'm going to move north towards Mill Mine. If you're familiar with that, I head in that direction here. I'll be moving north in a mile, but wanted to relay that report. The roof just ripped off of Dairyland Seeds in Gibson City by strong winds. Live in the storm tracker, I'm Jacob Dickey. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Jacob. We've got a lot going on here. We've also got some additional tornado warnings to tell you about in our far northern counties up here, okay? From Ashcombe up to Clifton, up to Martinton. Tornado warning up there with the storms that are coming through. So seeing some of the rotation with our storms up there near the Clifton area. I'm sorry, Jacob, say again. Okay, listening to Jacob in my ear here. We've got our tornado warnings up here to the north between Ashcombe, so we don't want to completely discount those areas up there to the north. Tornado up here between Ashcombe, Clifton, and Martinton. That's an area of concern as well, that we've got tornado warnings that are in effect. So we're watching that. So that area to the north, we talked about, Jacob just said that He had a report of a roof ripped off there. Said he's going to be sending us a picture. We'll effort to getting that to you here before too long. But that came through Gibson City with this line here, folks. The line that you're looking at here that just came through has had some damage up there. And so I just got the picture from Jacob. And so we'll get that fired up here in just a little bit. But this whole line could have some really strong winds here. What we're going to do here, I'm going to switch things over to some of our weather cameras. I know Muhammad probably getting hit pretty good by the storms here as we speak. Things calming down there in Decatur, as you can see. When we come back over here to our camera here in Champaign, as that line of storms starts to move in from the west, you can see here it is. They're going to be coming into Champaign here before too long. Right now, the storm here does not have a tornado warning on it, but we just have to kind of treat this as if there could be something, considering what we've been dealing with here with this entire line of storms. So we want to just kind of give everybody the heads up here all along this line. We're looking at a couple specific areas of concern right now, basically between Bement, Mill Mine, and the Voorhees area. You need to be in your tornado safe spot. Rotation continues to show up here. With this, we'll see what the Weather Service decides to do as this goes a little bit further to the east. But southwestern Champaign County, something to be watching as well as this storm will start to come in. You got Ivesdale down here, and then eventually coming into maybe portions of Douglas County. And then this line continues all the way to the south. I mean, Lovington, you guys are going to get hit by a pretty strong storm there. And then you get down there towards the Tower Hill and just kind of came through the Payne area. That entire line producing some strong winds. Jacob, are those power poles? I was looking at his camera. I don't know if those power poles are normally situated like that, but they look, was that from the storm, or is that just kind of how those poles are over there?
Kevin, I kind of think it's how the poles are over here more than anything. They look older, but there has been some strong winds, so maybe it gave me a little nudge. We're kind of clearing through the back side of this. I think the storm is going to end up outrunning us at this point. The rotation would be just to my northeast, and if I turn the camera a little bit that way, it's dark, but I didn't see anything quite as obvious or concerning as when we had the tornado cross in front of us in the Long Creek area. It looks, I don't see any debris either in the fields, so still a dangerous storm, but a couple things could be. One, maybe the threat coming down momentarily, but two, perhaps the storm is cycling a little bit as it gets closer to Bement. It's going to ride the railroad tracks basically all the way into southern Champaign County there, Bement, Ivesdale, Tolono, Philo, Sonoras, in that general direction. And then, of course, other storms with rotation causing issues and wind damage, of course. This is going to be a windy storm. And as the backside comes through too, Kevin, that front, I think the front caught up to me a little bit. The wind picked up out of the west and northwest in a hurry, and we've had spots with temperatures dropping 10 to 15 degrees plus in a very short period of time. Winter will be back before long, but it is coming with a side of spring for us here in central Illinois. Live in the Mill Mine area, I'm Jacob Dickey. I'll send it back to you, Kevin.
All right. Thanks, Jacob. Appreciate the report out there. Again, let's see what the Weather Service is saying here with this warning. We've just got a lot of things going on. This whole line here from north to south has that potential to produce definitely to produce the damaging winds. And then on top of that, embedded circulations, embedded little spin-ups of tornadoes that could occur. We've already had that. We showed you one earlier live on the air that was coming across there east of the Long Creek area. And so, again, the concern continues for that tornado threat anywhere here from south to north, stretching there from west of Shelbyville, coming up here west of Sullivan now. The storm there near Bement. So they've not carried the warning further to the east just yet, which would tell us that the circulation there probably is weakening. And I can confirm that when we look at it here just with the rotation, not seeing the same circulation that we once had. So don't fully let your guard down just yet if you are in southern Piatt County, because this storm could be going through a little bit of a cycling. And what that means is basically the storm kind of loses its intensity there for a bit and then starts to kick back up. And so down the line, southern Champaign County, I don't want you guys to completely discount this here just yet, as these storms still have the potential to produce severe weather. We kind of thought all along that, east of I-57, along and east of I-57 may be kind of the corridor we've got to be even more concerned about. And we've already had storms all this throughout this afternoon, west of I-57, obviously spawning tornadoes, bringing damage. And so don't let your guard down. Champaign, Vermilion, Douglas, Edgar, Coles County, we're not done here. The tornado watch continues. We've still got to get through this whole line that is moving off here to the east. And once we get that cleared, unfortunately, it's going to get a lot colder here. But that's kind of the transition here that we're having between this warm, moist air where temperatures are in the upper 60s, and then behind it, that cold air that is going to be coming in. All right, Jacob's got a few reports here for us. Jacob, you got some reports there? Let us know what you're hearing. I don't know if he's got us there or not, but he was talking about some homes possibly damaged up in the Pontiac area as these storms have moved through up that way. Jacob is out in the storm tracker. Seth just popped in here with us. Supposed to be Seth's day off today, but popping in here, help us out with a little severe weather coverage. And we are continuing to monitor things here with us. We're going to have Seth, do you have a mic and everything?
I do. Yep.
Okay.
I'm
perfect.
good to go.
Perfect. So we've got Seth in here with us, and Seth, it's been active here, this whole line, potential for severe storms.
Yeah, and if you, I'm not sure if you've mentioned this yet, but all these severe thunderstorm warnings that they all have that orangish outline. That's just kind of pretty much saying, just out of abundance of caution, all these are going to have that tornado possible tag on them. It's hard to see in the moment as they take place, especially if you have like the one we have over there in Piatt County, the confirmed tornado warning. But these rotations can just happen very quickly in the span of just a couple of minutes, and that's exactly why they have them warned up and down in the way that they do. And it looks like we've dropped a couple of warnings, and it looks like also a storm has kind of outrun its current polygon here. Still just kind of getting some of my bearings straight over this direction. But if we just zoom in on things here a little bit, kind of see where everything's at. Velocity just kind of looks a little messy again here. It was a little easier to tell earlier kind of what was going on. If we maybe clean some things up here and turn on our storm relative velocity every now and then, that makes it a little easier. But I can certainly say in the time it took to get over here, things don't look quite as defined as they did at one point. And you have to wonder what some of the rain that was pouring down into that rotation that really does affect it sometimes, and can often kind of make things just a little harder to see and kind of weaken the storm. And on top of that, just mention how the storm has outrun that pink polygon. It's now been replaced by a red one, which means we're not 100% certain there's anything on the ground anymore, but still seeing enough in the way of rotation to at least issue that next tornado warning there in the event that this storm does again drop one down. And of course, we've got a very good view, or at least we're very close to that storm with Jacob there on the ground, so he's going to let us know if he ever sees anything otherwise. But a upgrade, if you will, to just a ordinary tornado warning as opposed to an observed tornado warning. So we're heading in the right direction as far as that goes. And it looks like if we just zoom things out, a lot of our severe warnings have dropped as well. So kind of just honing in our focus there around Piatt County right now. We'll see how well this thing keeps up. It is currently on pace to head out towards 57 here before too long in parts of Champaign County, parts of Douglas County. So we'll certainly have to keep our eyes peeled. I will admit, from traveling quite a bit on 57 today, there's quite a few people out, of course, with Christmas traveling here, maybe heading back home after the long holiday. There's a lot of cars, a lot of traffic out there on the road. So if you know someone that might be using 57 right now to get home or to just get anywhere after the holiday weekend, that's something to keep in mind with the strong winds, and especially with this core of rotation still heading that direction, Kevin.
Okay, thank you, Seth. Here we go. Tornado warning does continue. Southern Piatt County, as Seth mentioned there, no longer the confirmed. That's this purple polygon that you have there. Still, serious situation. We've got a tornado warning there. You can see there basically from Bement, butts right up to the Douglas and Champaign County line as well. If Jacob is there, what I'm going to do, Jacob, I've got the picture that you sent in to us here, and I'm going to have you tell us a little bit more about what we're looking at here. This was up in the Gibson City area, I believe you're telling me. What are we looking at here, Jacob?
Yeah, that came from my mom and dad. They're out watching up in the Ford County area, and they observed some rotation and near Gibson City. And then in front of them, the roof came flying off of that building, and they were pretty close by when it happened. They couldn't see a condensation funnel touching the ground, but based on where the rotation was overhead, it's possible this could have been one of those brief spin-ups. And that's something that we'll struggle with these storms, is they'll briefly spin up faster than the radar can scan them. And so that's what you're looking at. There's the Dairyland Seed Building in Gibson City, which has been severely damaged by the storms coming on through. I've also heard, Kevin, in Livingston County, there's some significant damage coming in, some reports trickling in from the Pontiac area. And I've had a number of folks message about that from a potential tornado in that area. And then here in a second, Kevin, I'm going to take a left turn. I am in southern Hyatt now on the county line, and on the back side, I think the rotation on these is going to be kind of wrapped in on the back. And so when I turn the corner here, you'll see the darker looking sky. There's a lot of motion, but from my vantage point, I've not been able to make anything here. This is now kind of in the Hyatt county line. I'm keeping my eyes on a little cell in the Lovington area, and so I'm just positioning myself towards Atwood and Tuscola in case that were to spin up, because at this point it's going to be hard to catch up to anything. They're moving so quick, Kevin, and temperatures have been dropping as well. The front is basically riding right behind these and sweeping these storms east. So we don't have much more time for these storms to be here, but there's still plenty of opportunity for them to cause problems. And our focus now, of course, the tornado in northern Iroquois County, up in the Ashcombe, Clifton area, a likely tornado there. And then we're watching some areas of possible rotation in Piatt County, and then the new severe thunderstorm warning that just came out for Douglas and Moultrie County for that little area of rotation near Lovington. That's what I'll be targeting next, Kevin. With that, I'm in the storm tracker just east of Hammond. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, so there we go. You can kind of see again the positioning of where Jacob is on our weather map. So there he is on the radar. He's going to be coming into the Atwood area here. So again, these storms, they were racing. You saw how fast when we had that tornado there live on the air, how quickly that thing just kind of whipped right across the road that Jacob was sitting on. And so it's tough to stay ahead of these. But he's going to be in position here, potentially getting back ahead of it or maneuvering there if he needs to go south, because look at this line that stretches all the way down to Shelbyville now, into Moultrie County, through the Sullivan area. That whole area has the very strong thunderstorm potential. So they've issued a severe thunderstorm warning on our cell here that is going into Douglas County. So this does include Arthur and Tuscola and Arcola and Bourbon and Chesterville, Camargo, severe thunderstorm warning, but with that distinct tornado possible tag associated with it, meaning that at any point, that storm within that polygon does have the potential to also produce a tornado. It's not just a regular severe thunderstorm that you're talking about hail and winds. This one does have that additional kind of threat with it where a tornado could develop. So kind of keep that in mind. They have not carried that storm into Champaign County as tornado warned here. But I'll tell you, it's starting to come down here at the station, I believe. Let me see if I can't pull up our weather cameras here and see what we've got in terms of what things look like. So there's our camera. Boy, that thing might have got a little bit of a push there. Did you move that down?
I did.
Okay,
it was a push for me, yes.
Okay, I got you. Okay, I was like, whoa, the thing kind of moved there a little bit. So we're looking at the storm here coming into Champaign here as we speak. Again, this does not have any kind of a warning associated with it. If you're in Champaign right now, pretty decent thunderstorm regardless, either way. But it is a storm that is going to have the potential to produce some of that heavy rainfall. There's another view from our stadium camera there as the storm is coming in here. So if you're watching us in Champaign County, not a warning at this time, but still a strong storm kind of coming in to our area here. The strongest of the storms right now, essentially going into Douglas County with the severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect down there. We're still watching that area for the potential for, some enhancement in that. Also, we just popped back up here to the north where we've continued to have tornado warnings up here in far northern Iroquois County between Martinton and then right up there on the Kankakee County line where they've had some confirmed tornadoes up there as well. So we've been trying to keep an eye on things here on both fronts here from north to south. We've just had such a long line of storms here, but possibly some debris signatures associated with the storms up there. So the folks up there into Iroquois County have been dealing with some of these storms, but producing some of that severe weather with us here today. It has just been a real kind of active afternoon for many spots here with us. And so just kind of looking at some of the reports coming into us here. It looks like they had something there east of Clifton. It's kind of where this all kind of spawned from earlier, was east of Clifton, when that confirmed tornado warning occurred, at a pretty good little circulation that was associated with the storm there. And that is now heading over there towards it's going to be towards the Beaverville area. They're in far eastern portions of Iroquois County. So we're watching a lot of spots here. All of Iroquois County is under that warning here, but potentially some good news coming for some of the folks that are to the west out there. And we're going to pop over to Seth. He is over there. He's got some more with us to talk about this tornado watch that hopefully is starting to fall off. What do you got over there, Seth?
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. Just wanted to kind of put this up here because kind of following the warnings and stuff, we kind of lose track sometimes of where we're starting to lose the watch box a little bit. So originally, a ton of the areas in this tornado watch that is going until 8 p.m. But as that line sweeps through, they're really kind of getting rid of some of these watch areas as it moves along, because once that line moves through, there's nothing behind it except for some colder air, of course. So we are going to see some counties kind of drop off here. I believe that initial first tornado warning came in Christian County. Now you are no longer in that tornado watch. But if things kind of stay according to plan, that will be in effect until 8 p.m. Maybe that's a little later in the game than what it will actually last. But as that line moves on through, expect to see some of those counties drop. Another thing to watch with this, speaking of watching the watches drop, these temperatures are starting to drop too. Look over there in Springfield, 49 degrees. I couldn't tell you exactly what the temp was earlier today, but I'm sure it was close to 70 degrees at one point. Now we've seen a 20-degree drop. No wonder that we're seeing the watch drop as that front sweeps on through. Still mid to upper 60s across much of the rest of the area. That is more of that storm fuel that is still in place. That is going to let these showers and storms continue to have that energy as they push off to the same situation with their dew points up there into those 60s. So plenty of heat to tap into, plenty of moisture to tap into. But notice just how sharp the change is as that front is starting to march on into the area. So plenty still in the picture right now as we look at our line here up and down. Not as many severe thunderstorm warnings as it was at one point in time, but we still have just a few cores to really keep an eye out for, particularly this one here. It has now kind of had a little more of a southern shift from that main storm we saw earlier. Now kind of the southern end of this line, seeing that severe thunderstorm warning. That does include parts of Douglas County, including Arcola and Tuscola. As mentioned, this is ready to race across the I-57 here before too long. Does have that tornado possible tag. You can tell based on kind of the reddish orange outline here. You can kind of see that core getting ready to move on through. Not as pronounced and vibrant as it was in one point in time, but that is still plenty to at least have that tornado possible tag on it. And as you were mentioning earlier there, Kevin, that storm up there in far northern Iroquois County kind of looked like it had a better signature whenever I put this up here originally. Now it kind of looks a little flatter. Of course, that's in a little bit of a radar limbo up that direction, but that was a confirmed tornado on the far north end of our area. And it sounds like, Kevin, it might be storm time for Champaign, or at least that's what the roof is telling me with the raindrops here.
Yeah, I think so too. It's starting to come down pretty good here outside the studio. You can see here along Neal Street. Boy, not a lot of traffic out there right now, which is some good news because it is really starting to come down here. Maybe even hearing the sounds. Sometimes we can actually hear the sounds of hail sometimes. And so you get the little tingy sounds, then we can hear that on our rooftop out there. But you can see how dark things are here along Neal Street in Champaign as that heavy rainfall is coming through. This is actually not considered severe. Some of you may be going, wow, it's really coming down and, you know, we're getting some gust of wind, but we're actually below the severe criteria, at least at this point, with this storm that's coming through Champaign. But yes, just to kind of give you guys a heads up on things, that's what's happening right now. You can see also some of the ponding there on the roadways that we get. There are certain parts of Neal Street that you are very, very familiar with, maybe very common to have some of that heavy rainfall kind of pool up. Any hail out there?
The rain's kind of coming in sideways, so to avoid the mics getting hit by the water. I didn't see too much when I peeked at the concrete, but that rain is it's coming down pretty good clip.
Coming down pretty good here outside of the studio right now. Again, we have continued to Monitor things here with severe weather moving across parts of central Illinois. Multiple counties still under warnings at this time. And boy, you can't even see it. That's our camera here from up above. Difficult to see much here at this point with the heavy rainfall moving across the area right now. So just imagine, this is what we're getting down here, and we're not even in a severe thunderstorm warning at this time. And then you can see what's going on down into Douglas County. Looks like a new warning here.
It's a nice big one, too. Well ahead of the line.
Okay, so they have issued another huge warning here, severe thunderstorm warning. And so we'll kick it back over to the radar view since we can't really see much here from our Champaign camera. And we'll show you where this new warning is. They've essentially went ahead and warned out ahead of this entire line. That includes all of Coles County. It's going to be all of Cumberland County there, and basically the eastern 2/3 of Shelby County with that new warning that is in effect. And so that whole thing going to be intense, could bring some really strong winds with it. I will tell you this, we're going to have a pretty good view of things here with our Mattoon camera that we've not been able to have before. Our camera usually was kind of in a fixed position, and now we're going to be able to kind of show that in a very large view there. Okay, so new tornado warning up here to the north into northeastern portions of Iroquois County. This is going to be just northeast of Watseka, but you're talking the Donovan area and Iroquois where there's still some of that rotation on our storm. Let's see if we can't try to pick some of this out on the velocity there. And, kind of tough to see, but maybe a little bit of rotation still associated with our storms up here to the north and east. If you are in Pittwood to Donovan to Iroquois, you need to be in your tornado safe spot as the severe weather potential continues up here to the north. This, again, is far northeastern Iroquois County, where they actually have, and I'm just going to read up on this a little bit here, tornado producing storm. Moving off to the east near Watseka, east at 50 miles an hour. Spotters have indicated tornadoes along this line near St. Anne and Martinton in the past few minutes. So that's what we're looking at with our storm up here to the north. So let's kind of show you. So there's Martinton right there, where we've had these storms kind of come across. So the tornado warning continues into northeastern confirmed tornado up there. So it's going to be just north of Watseka. If you are in the Donovan area, you need to be taking shelter. Martinton, taking shelter there. Pittwood, we talked about as the tornado warning continues. So then a huge severe thunderstorm warning also. So essentially, almost, it's kind of interesting. The entire line here is warned except for the portion coming through Champaign County right now. So Seth, you've got Douglas County pulled up over there talking about that storm coming in.
Yeah, we'll just kind of take a look inside what's going on here because just got an update from the Weather Service, or at least it was just kind of updates on their thoughts here. They said still watching weak but persistent rotation between Arthur and Bourbon in western Douglas County. So we're going to dive into this storm here, just kind of take you down here a little bit. That was reflectivity, but as Kevin's been mentioning here for a while, the velocity is kind of where you want to be here with some of these storms. Kind of hard to tell on this one because you're not seeing the classic green versus red, but you're seeing a contrasting colors here nonetheless, exactly where they said, kind of around that Bourbon area. And that is where that rotation is still of interest. That's why it still has the tornado possible tag on it as that marches off to the east. And if I bring it back to reflectivity here in just a moment, I'll put this thing in motion here and just kind of let you see how things are progressing along and kind of when things will be on their way. So if I back some things up here, put it in motion just like this, we'll be able to see this thing does have some southeast movement to it. So that main area of rotation, not really a problem up there towards the Tuscola region, but maybe kind of watching down there around Arcola as that kind of has this sort of movement on it. So kind of moving south and east there as that one moves along. On top of that, that mess down there getting ready to head to Coles and Cumberland County. Not quite there just yet, but plenty of warning time here ahead of that line as we're going to have quite a bit of windiness here to some of these storms. And if we dive in on velocity with this one as well, again, you're not seeing anything too crazy organized at the moment, but you're starting to see kind of, I'll trace it here with this line, kind of starting to see a contrast in the colors here on this line as it moves on through. That's where potential notches could end up forming at some point in time, just depending on how this storm interacts there with those incoming southern winds. So that'll be something to continue to monitor, even if there's nothing completely prominent out there right now. If they're putting warnings out there that far ahead of the game, that means there is still plenty of time for things to potentially happen. But like you said, Kevin, the good thing is this line is kind of broken up a little bit, not severe here around Champaign County and that stuff northeast. Pretty soon to get out of the area. So it looks like we'll kind of have things focused down to just one particular portion of the storm. And on top of that, we're going to be able to get some pretty good views with it on that Mattoon and Charleston camera whenever the time comes.
All right, so I've got Jacob pulled up here on his location. He is in some heavy rainfall, and his icon's probably going to update here in just a moment. And he's coming in there to the west side of Tuscola, so you can see his position of where he's located. And we're going to go to him here in just a moment if we've got him. And Jacob, you are in some heavy rainfall there right now. I can hear it coming down. You're coming in there on 36 west of Tuscola. Is that correct?
Yeah, Kevin, we're slipping between Chicken Bristle and Bourbon right now. We're continuing to watch a small but weak area of rotation that's over Bourbon and kind of moving east-northeast. It's not worthy of a tornado warning yet, but as it does continue to move east, remember, the area in front of the storm has been relatively untouched by any other rain and storm activity. So we'll be keeping an eye on Camargo and Newman and places like that. I think we may just stay on 36 heading to the east and watch this closely here. We're right on the edge of Tuscola. For those of you familiar with Tuscola, about a mile west here, we'll cross the railroad bridge. We've already passed by the big industrial chemical complex out here, and so we'll cross under the railroad tracks here in just a little bit. It's been raining very heavy. Temperatures are holding in the low 60s right now as we caught back up into things, Kevin. You know, we at one point had temperatures drop quickly, but we will continue to see that move on through. So that get back into the warmer side of things here, hopefully for long. With that, Kevin, don't have much else to report. It is heavy torrential rain. We do need the rain. That may be the good thing out of this, is a good drink of water on what may end up being the second driest year on record in Champaign County. So we'll take all the rain we can get. Unfortunately, with the instability today, the chance for severe weather, including tornadoes, that has played out. We still have a risk for folks along and ahead of this line, and we'll continue to monitor things here for the next hour or two until they cross into West Indiana and clear our viewing area. Live in the Storm Tracker, I'm rolling into Tuscola now, Kevin. I'll send it back to you.
All right, so I appreciate it here. It's 4:05 p.m., still tracking some of this severe weather. I will apologize for my voice. I came down with a cold a couple days ago, so powering through this here. Seth just went and got me some more water here, but you know, you gotta keep fighting through it. So that's what we're gonna do here for you. Again, you can see there's where Jacob is located there on 36. He's been in that heavy rainfall there. He is in that severe thunderstorm warned cell. But I got to tell you, we're going to be watching this whole area down to the south, Arcola, Humboldt, Gaze, Mattoon, here before too long as this continues to move off here to the east. I also want to show you this. We're getting in some reports of some power outages, and a good way to determine where you've had some damage, and sometimes, in this case, maybe where a tornado potentially could have occurred, is by looking at the outage map here from Ameren. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to zoom in. This is going to be Macon County. And notice we're getting some of these pop up, but when we zoom in a little bit more, it'll start to give us a little bit clearer picture. And there you go. This is exactly where we had rotation and the kind of confirmation on the debris signature where a tornado could have occurred. So you're looking at several power outages that are between Mount Zion, kind of west of Long Creek. You're kind of down, just south of the airport. But you can see this area right here where these little blue dots are. And if we click on some of them, it's got 212 customers without power, 145. And so I know it's kind of tough to see some of the roads there, but that's going to be when we were on the air. We talked about the Turpin Road and Lost Bridge Road, Baltimore Avenue, when the radar was showing its best signature of potential rotation and what we think was probably a tornado. And so just south of the Decatur Airport, and over there towards Long Creek to Mount Zion, several outages there, about 600 customers in total. Also hearing about outages up to the north in the Ashcombe area, up near Clifton, that area up there, also seeing outages, and that's where we had some reports possibly of a tornado up there and up around the Fairbury area and Livingston County. So just kind of a glance at where some of those outages have been here so far this afternoon, and that has been something of concern with people without power, and especially it's about to get really cold out there tonight as the winds of change are upon us here. Again, just briefly, we're still in the air here as a tornado warning continues from northeastern Iroquois County. If you're between Donovan to Iroquois, you're going to continue to kind of be in your safe spot here. We will continue to keep you up to date on things. Here's the thing, Seth, even if you've not sustained damage with the storms that have come through, okay, we still have some really strong winds to come behind this line of storms, and you can show us some of that right now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This line of storms, it's probably going to pack the strongest winds in a very small, isolated area, but the actual strongest widespread winds of the day have yet to come, or at least finally starting to arrive. We actually have a 55-mile-an-hour wind gust report, non-thunderstorm related out there in Springfield. And you kind of just see the pink and purple colors out there to the west in general. That's your 40 to 50, maybe even 55-mile-an-hour gusts. As that front moves on through, you need to see the change in wind direction. That usually indicates where your front is as well. Still have that southern wind on the warm side of things. Now I get that northwest wind as that colder air starts to filter on through as well. So we're watching for that as this line moves through. Notice how this line of storms pretty much sizes up perfectly with there that wind change was. So areas still to the east of this, we're keeping watch out there for your continuing storm chances, but areas off to the west, just get ready for things to just completely pull a 180 on you. It's going to get really cold. It's going to get really windy. It's going to feel like winter here in about 12 hours. The wind chill may drop below zero there in a few places. Just want to highlight a couple things too as this next warning starts to see some places included in it. That storm actually start to catch up. Mattoon probably has a really good view of this here before too long. Very thin line of storms. Your impacts are going to be very short-lived. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be minor impacts, though. The good news is velocity still doesn't show a whole lot of contrast. You can kind of make out there a line where the winds are starting to shift a little bit, but certainly nothing that just screams rotation here at the moment. We'll just have to watch out for a few of these pockets where maybe the wind is swirling around just a little bit there as we get our newest scan with that as well. So continuing to keep a heads up there for parts of Coles and Cumberland County. Let's even take a look outside in Mattoon off to the west. You can see the leading edge of those storms getting ready to move on through. You kind of see some of this scud here in nature, even just a little bit of lowering there at times, just kind of some places of interest there to keep an eye out for. But there's that leading edge as it gets ready to move on through, now kind of facing things off to the north as well. So getting ready to turn really blue over there in Mattoon. May even start to see some of those appendages come down. But again, that's just kind of some of your scud moving into the picture there, just little fingers hanging down from the storm. But yeah, just kind of watching areas like that just to see if there's any sort of a rotation here at some point in time, or maybe where there's some of those stronger winds getting ready to move through. So that's the view in Mattoon. Probably going to be a really useful camera here over the next 30 minutes or so, and eventually that Charleston camera. But there it is once again, that line of storm stretching pretty much from as far north as we cover to as far south as we cover. Even down there in Fayette County has a severe thunderstorm warning. The good news with all of this is, with the way these things are moving, maybe the next hour or 2 hours, this line is going to be completely out of here. And that tornado threat still exists, but we're not seeing anything at the moment that's jumping off the page here to us. But like I said, Kevin, the next step, even after the storms are over with, is going to be those strong winds. Maybe enough to knock out some power in a couple of places, who knows? But a 55-mile-an-hour gust sure is nothing to scoff at over there in Springfield.
All right, there you go. 55 non-thunderstorm wind gusts out there. Again, 58 miles an hour is when they issue warnings. Again, we're going to keep an eye on this camera here, Mattoon. If you look off there in the distance, you're going to get, I think we're just going to get a lightning strike here in just a moment. There it was. You're going to see that line coming right at you. It is minutes away here. If you're watching us down into Coles County, it is over the Gaze area right now, coming into the west side of Mattoon. And this is our newest camera that we were able to upgrade. And so we upgraded our camera. It allows us to move it around to give us some spectacular views of the storms like we've never been able to kind of see before. And so this is what we're looking at here. So we're just kind of analyzing things, seeing if we can see anything kind of embedded in there or any kind of a lowering of any kind. So we're looking straight due west right now. From Mattoon, looking right into that storm that's going to be on top of you in the next few minutes. That's the view that we're getting here from our camera, and we can kind of move it around. You can see that whole kind of, little shelf cloud there. As I look at things, I'm not seeing really any rotation. It looks ominous, obviously, when you see it there in person. But right now, not seeing any rotation, but it's going to give us a really good view of that storm as it comes right in there to the west side of town. And so this is the camera that we were able to upgrade and just be able to give you guys some great views of the storm as it kind of moves in. So the folks there in Mattoon, from Humboldt down to Mattoon, and then down towards Neoga there. Jacob is going to pop back in here with us. I believe he's talking about a little bit of damage. Jacob, what do you got there?
Yeah, hey, Kevin, started to get more reports coming out of Mount Zion and Long Creek. Ben sent me this photo just a minute ago, and there's been starting to see some of those reports of some structural damage to neighborhoods there. So this is a new photo. You're seeing it first time with us of the Long Creek and the Mount Zion area. Some pretty substantial damage. I imagine we'll have a reporter head that way. And those reports are starting to come to the surface as crews are getting into these neighborhoods and learning more about what happened. Also, Kevin, I've had a number of folks message me about significant damage in parts of Pontiac from a tornado that struck there earlier. So there's a number of areas that will have some cleanup. Right now, we are continuing to work our way to the east. I'm moving into Camargo right now and just kind of playing my luck staying here in case I need to turn to the south. Still have that tornado warning for Iroquois County and now Benton County added, so a little further down the line. But we're watching this storm here near the Tuscola area and kind of keeping our options open before we head back to the west and start to head towards probably the Decatur area if no new damage happens. But wanted to relay that report, Kevin. Starting to hear some reports of some rather substantial structural damage in the Mount Zion and Long Creek area. We brought you up close to the tornado exclusively here as it moves through that area, giving folks the alert, the heads up downstream of what was to come. And that's what we aim to do, is give those advanced warnings, not only with radar, but also with the storm tracker. And we'll continue to do that until these storms make it out of our area into Indiana. Live in the Camargo area, I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. We'll send it back to you, Kevin.
Okay, so I just want to kind of show the area again just by using the Ameren outage map. This is where most likely a tornado occurred, okay? You can see here, I'll just back it out just a little bit so you can kind of see. So here's Decatur, okay? You get just southeast of town, and there's the airport up here. You got Mount Zion. And so we think in this area here, and that's where some of those pictures Jacob was showing is coming from, this most likely is where we had a tornado. So somewhere Harryland Road, Baltimore Avenue, Elwyn Road, and you get over there towards 121, Lost Bridge area. That's going to be the general area where most likely some of that damage is going to come to light as people get out there and assess things a little bit more. But that is definitely the area where we had the best rotation that was on radar. So some of the best ways to go back and kind of assess, without getting full reports is, okay, where do we have power outages? Those power outages are going to come from tornadoes, strong winds that came through, and there are 600 plus customers without power in that area. Okay, so we've got a new tornado warning that's up here into Iroquois County. They continue to issue these here. This includes up here near the Milford area and Wellington. You guys are under tornado warnings up there now. Still watching those areas. That whole line has the potential to produce a little spin-up tornado. We've already had several of them here this afternoon. And so we're looking at that storm now. Basically going to be east of Milford. These things are going to be pushing off into Indiana in the next 15 minutes, which will be great. But still, for right now, over the next 10 to 15 minutes, just be on guard there between Milford and Wellington. Over towards the Stockland area, we'll be watching that particular location, and then this pushes off into Indiana. Right now, the warnings that we've got, additional severe thunderstorm warnings. You've got far northern Vermilion County, so Hoopston. You've got a little bit of a break there coming into Penfield and Bismarck and Collison, Fithian. But then you get here, and now the new warning in effect for southeastern Champaign County. It includes Homer and the Broadlands area, Fairmount to Jamaica and Seidel. You guys are under the warning. And then Camargo, severe thunderstorm warning there. This stretches south. And now, as we mentioned, coming into Mattoon, and let's just try to kick back to our camera. I have a feeling we may not be able to see things as clear as we once did in Mattoon. Oh, it's still not too bad, but that storm now starting to come into Mattoon. As things get a little bit darker there, severe thunderstorm warning in Mattoon. You could have 60-mile-per-hour winds occur with this, okay? You can see some of the flashes of lightning that we're getting there. And sometimes embedded in there, you could have a slight circulation. That's why the severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag remains. And that is going to be the case there eventually for the Charleston area, Lerna, be on the lookout there, to Cumberland County as well, Neoga, as that line of storms will continue to essentially evolve and push off to the east. Now, these are, so earlier we had almost kind of some separate little supercells that were kind of alone by themselves, and that's when we had some of the best circulation. Now we're getting to more of this kind of line, but sometimes embedded along the line. You'll get just a little notch, a little circulation that can occur. So we got to really kind of analyze those really carefully to see, okay, is there anything in there? Right now, I'm not seeing much of that. But boy, I know it's coming down in Mattoon as we speak. Heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning there. Down towards Paradise, southwest of Mattoon, and then just kind of rolling through the Strasburg, Stewartson area and Highway 32. So Neoga, you're next. Sigel, we'll watch your area down there. Storms coming into Effingham County. None of those are actually are warned. So it is kind of sporadic. You get a few warnings there, and then you get a few storms, or you don't have warnings anymore. I mean, I will say this. We're not completely done with the severe threat with this as the tornado watch continues, but hopefully winding things down a little bit here in the next, half an hour or so. Right now, there is still that concern with the tornado warning in eastern Iroquois County as that continues east of Milford. If you're east of Milford and the Wellington area, that is the area of highest concern. And it's really now moving over into Indiana, over towards the Kitland area, over there where all the wind turbines are, if you drove over there along US 41. And so now those storms are going to be moving out of Illinois and more into Indiana. So notice how the storms are kind of a little bit weaker. They're not as strong here, northern portions of Vermilion County here, but then they ramp up just a little bit more. Notice that the reds are going to a little bit kind of deeper and darker. The more south we go on this line, and that's going to be right here into Coles County, and eventually there into Cumberland County as well. I'm going to pull up here, and bear with me for a second, and look at some of the various storm reports that we have received so far this afternoon. And I'm going to pull some of those up, and we'll just kind of click on a few of these here. And so here's some of that report from earlier. This is going to be up around the Gibson City area where we had the picture earlier of the building that had a large section of the roof blown off. We had that picture a little bit earlier for you. And then it looks like additional storm damage coming into us here. Several reports up here into Livingston County near the Fairbury area. And those were actually some of the morning storms near Forest. But then we come back here into Macon County where we've had those reports of damage. And this is where we think most likely a tornado occurred. And so Mount Zion, multiple trees snapped, possible tornado that occurred in that area. And so that looks to be kind of so far the ground zero of damage that we've had. But even a report that came to us down here into Christian County and northwest of Pana. And we'll click on that one there. And that's going to tell us that they had a tree down by thunderstorm winds earlier this afternoon. So these are just a few of those different reports that have come in here this afternoon as these storms kind of came across the area. We're still not done as this line moves into portions of Coles County, the Mattoon and Charleston area. And the view that we've got from our camera shows you that storm right there over Mattoon right now. All right, folks, 4:21 p.m. Just for some kind of bookkeeping purposes here in just a moment, we will be going back to some regular programming and continuing our coverage online here. While I kind of maneuver some of that, I'm going to send things over to Seth. And Seth, talk to us a little bit about some of these power outages that we're receiving. Looks like there's a real kind of couple centralized locations where power outages have been an issue.
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. I just thought this map would kind of help to illustrate where things are at. We kind of advertised with the system here that the impacts were going to be pretty good for those that saw the strongest storms, but not everyone was going to see it. There's lots of green on this map, so that means outages are not much of a factor here for many counties in the area, but we're kind of just watching a couple of different spots there where the impacts have been a little greater. Macon County has, I believe, upwards of 600 outages, and do have a couple of reports up there in Iroquois County where perhaps upwards of 1,000 people are without power up that direction. A lot of other spots are just kind of hit or miss, a lot of yellow on there, which can be as little as 10 outages, maybe up to a couple of hundred outages there in the area. Roughly statewide, we're looking at a little over 4,000 here across the area. So that is what we're dealing with as far as the outages right now. Again, not big and widespread, but there's certain spots that were hit the hardest. When we had that tornado warning in Macon County earlier, there have been plenty of tornado warnings up there in Iroquois County throughout the day as well. And here's kind of the look at things. The good thing is the tornado warned storms look to be shifting out of the area here right now, but there's still plenty of these severe warned storms. In fact, anywhere you kind of see just a little bit of red on the radar, there's probably a severe thunderstorm warning box around it with a tornado possible tag. Just kind of zoom in and look at a couple of these. You can see this one here starting to race across parts of Champaign County into southern Vermilion County. Same situation there with Douglas into Edgar County. You can see things, again, continue to stay pretty thin. Maybe this northern core not quite as strong as the southern one. This line that we start to see moving on in here into parts of Cumberland and Coles County. Place like Mattoon probably just took a pretty good whacking there with some of that rain and the strong winds. Next up will probably be Charleston through there. Neoga probably in line for the next round there as well. And this particular portion of the line kind of looks a little more organized, a little more put together. If we kind of look at things here on velocity, looks like things are coming from the pretty high upper levels of the atmosphere, so can't really make out too much from that. But what we can do is take you there to the ground on some of these sky cams. You can see in Mattoon, the rain has pretty much come and gone, but notice how much this camera is shaking. You're starting to get some of those post-storm winds along that front as it moves on through. So that's going to continue to be something to monitor and keep track of as well. Another thing to kind of look out for, I believe at one point in time, I saw the Weather Service say there's kind of just a level of, there's a degree of mid-level rotation kind of around the Hoopston area. It's really hard to tell on this particular version of the radar. I'm sure they have the beam pointed in a different spot than I do, but I just kind of watching out for the southern part of Iroquois County, northern part of Vermilion County, where they did put up a storm, severe thunderstorm warning that did have that tornado possible tag on it at one point in time. So a lot of the urgent warnings are now finally starting to shift out of the area, but we can see how fast things can shift over the course of just a few minutes. There's still plenty of those storms that have the tornado possible tag on them, so plenty to still keep track of here, even though a lot of these counties are now starting to kind of get the all clear as that front sweeps on through, but still several more storms to go, quite a bit of wind to go as well, even if we avoid that tornado threat altogether. But that is kind of the situation that we're seeing right now. That's all I've got on my side of things, Kevin. I'll send things back over to you.
Okay, if Jacob is with us, Jacob, maybe give us a quick report of your location there. It looks like you're over there close to Newman. Is that right?
Yeah, Kevin, I'm in Newman on the edge of town here, looking back to the west. We're just watching that storm and taking a minute to check some reports and things of that. Again, this is what happened earlier, folks. This is why we're covering these storms. This came from the Mount Zion area, and I'm just looking through my messages now. I'm sitting here. I've got a number of more reports of damage in that area, and some of the photos show some fairly substantial structural damage here. So, again, there have been tornadoes. There have been confirmed damage. And you're in the Decatur area, also Iroquois County, and we've had sporadic damage elsewhere. So we're keeping a very close eye on these storms. And so just kind of sitting here getting my bearings. There's been a little weak area rotation that's been kind of evident coming out of Tuscola this direction. No warning here for yet. But again, a lot of things are just weakly spinning. The question is, can they get over that line and produce tornadoes? And some of those earlier storms have. But right now where I'm sitting here in Newman, my concern is low, but I'm still going to watch things and keep an eye on it. So we'll keep you updated on that. Again, this is looking west from Newman in the storm tracker, Kevin. With that, I'll try and get some photos posted and sent your way from the Mount Zion area. But we have a crew heading in that direction after it looks like it's some substantial damage in that area, Kevin, that has occurred from a tornado in Macon County. So we'll have more updates, and I'll probably head that way for the newscast at 10 o'clock tonight. Live in Newman, I'm Jacob Dickey. Kevin, I'll send it back to you.
All right, sounds good. So there's Jacob again in the Newman area. The Weather Service has noted, they've been saying there's still some very weak rotation there, but not as strong as what we had a little bit earlier. So to give you kind of this wide view once again, okay, the tornado warning that was in effect up here into Iroquois County, those storms pushing off into Indiana. Great news there. Okay. What's happening here into Vermilion County? Still, we've got pretty strong storm going to be coming into the Danville area here before too long. Severe thunderstorm warning there with the tornado possible tag. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and bring up the camera. So there's Mattoon once again, Charleston area getting hit. But now we show you Danville. We're going to watch Danville as the storms come through. So you've got Charleston as well. Seeing the storms are going to be kind of coming in. There you go. There's the view there. Once again, you kind of see that little shelf cloud that's kind of coming in. And that's going to be an area where we're watching that storm. It's still pretty intense down there. I mean, I got to tell you, folks, that storm that's coming into Charleston, still looking fairly ominous. You can see, again, the lightning there. It's kind of lighting up the clouds as the storms kind of come in. So it's about to get really stormy there if you're watching us in the Charleston area at this moment. There it comes. The heavy rain is going to start to pick up. We're just going to keep kind of watching the cameras here, not seeing anything as far as, super strong rotation, weak rotation along some of these lines. There could be an embedded circulation every now and again, but you're definitely about to get some really heavy rain and some not lightning with our storms that are kind of coming through. Lerna, kind of the same thing for you folks. Neoga, you just had that as well. Seth, what do you got over there?
Yeah, tell me what you think, Kevin, but I'm seeing just a tiny bit of kind of more organized rotation just north of Oakland, kind of around the Hinesboro area. Maybe I'm just being a little picky with it, kind of south of Newman. I'll try to pull up my velocity here just to kind of take a closer look at it, but it just looks like maybe there's some colors maybe trying to come a little more together here. Let me switch to my other velocity here on mine and see if it can kind of come up a little better. It's coming up pretty prominently on the phone. The colors are a little out of whack here on my velocity picture, but I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing, Kevin, if your stuff's showing it, but maybe not quite as much on that last scan, but
let me see here. I'm going to pull up another
that might be easier.
View. And I think what you're kind of referring to is, hold on here, bear with me, but kind of right.
Yeah, in that general area. Again, the last scan, not quite as impressive, but just kind of saw something spark up there in the previous one, but maybe not quite the case anymore, but among other things that don't look all that interesting, that one just kind of stuck out for the moment.
Sure. So, and I think the Weather Service has kind of noted that too, saying, there's been persistent rotation like on that storm the whole way. And this is the same storm that brought some of that tornado debris or the confirmed tornado over there north of Mount Zion. And so still just kind of watching that area. Again, that's also the area that kind of Jacob has been over there as well. So, not quite done yet. Strong storms kind of coming through. We talked about this whole line that is still racing across the area. Let's bring it back to the Charleston camera as the storm now right there in Charleston, that leading edge beginning to come through. There's some of the flashes of lightning there that you're getting as the storm is really now hitting portions of Coles County, Oakland, from Oakland to Charleston down to Lerna. And now going to be pushing into Edgar County. And Edgar County, you're going to be next to get hit by this line of storms as it moves through. Again, as of right now, the most damage we've heard about is in southeastern portions of Macon County. We'll just kind of come back and kind of show it to you. Is in this general area right here. Okay, we talked about it live on the air over there, basically between Elwyn, Mount Zion, Long Creek, the Turpin area, if you're familiar. This is the area where I believe we've got some structural damage to some homes. And so we've got a crew that's going to be over there giving us some reports. We've seen a few of those pictures so far. And if you can, Jacob's got that picture pulled up there on his camera view there. And so if we can, there we go. So this is in that area that we're kind of showing you on radar. That is one of the pictures of some of the damage there to a home, as you can see. And so, these things come in slowly. People, their homes get hit. First priority is make sure everybody's safe. And so sometimes these reports can be delayed by, an hour or two and getting pictures and things like that. So you never fully know the scope of things until sometimes hours later. But that definitely has been the case. Again, here southeast of Decatur, southeastern Macon County, Mount Zion, Long Creek, Turpin, Elwyn area right there. So we've got a crew, and we're going to have reports coming up here throughout tonight. But just to kind of get back to things here and what we've got, heavy rainfall along this entire pencil-thin line. For our folks back in the control room there, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of wrap up our television coverage. Policy is that we stay on for tornado warnings, which we've had this whole time. And what we're going to do is transition back to just our digital coverage. So if you've not already found us on Facebook, we've been streaming this entire time on Facebook, on X, on YouTube, on the WCIA3 weather app. You can find us in multiple locations, all of the weather team's social media pages. We stream there all the time. We cut in here on TV to give you the tornado coverage like we've done here for the past 90 minutes. But we're going to pause the TV part since there are no tornado warnings in effect. If a new tornado warning gets issued, we will jump back in and let you know the very latest on that. But for now, find us on those various social media platforms as we're going to continue our coverage. Jacob is still out in the storm tracker over there close to Edgar County with this line of storms. Seth's still here in the studio as well, and myself. And we're going to continue to track this line. Still not out of the woods, Edgar County, southeastern Vermilion County, Coles, Cumberland, Clark counties with this line of storms. And behind it, much colder air, and the winds are about to pick up as well. Thank you for joining us here on television. We do apologize for interrupting your programming, but obviously we do that for a reason. We did have a tornado that occurred down there in southeastern Macon County. We're going to have more reports of that coming up a little bit later on this evening and throughout the newscast. So keep checking back with us. Again, go to our social media pages or the weather app, because we will have much more on there. For now, I'm Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy. Thanks for joining us. We now send you back to your regular programming.
Okay, you should be good on this. I regret to inform you that I think going does not work. So let me find sports and get mic'd up on that. But
Oh, okay. Gotcha. There we go. Okay, so we're still on digital here for the folks that are watching us here still online. We've still got a lot of people that are still watching our coverage here online. So we're just going to kind of take a little deep breath. Yeah, Jacob, what's up? Let me go. I'm gonna. Sorry, guys. For those of you watching us online, we're doing a little bookkeeping here. I'm talking to Jacob here. Jacob, I was gonna go ask them kind of how quickly. I believe they sent Katie over there. Is that correct? I believe. Oh. Okay. Yeah, maybe you should head that way and try to get us something at 5:30. Could you make it by 5:30? Okay. I would say go over there so we could have some live pictures from there. Okay. Actually, Will, we're still streaming, but Katie is over there in Decatur. Okay. I just turned Jacob around to go take the TVU there, so hopefully we can have something at 5:30.
we'll see. Yeah.
We're gonna
when they get there. Yep.
yeah. So just so you know, Jacob is going back and is hopefully going to meet up with Katie. So make sure that they connect on where they're at so we can have a report there for the newscast. Perfect. Will Simmons here, our weekend anchor, getting ready for our newscast here at 5:30. That's coming up here in just a little bit. As we kind of get all of our ducks in a row here. This is where kind of things transition. We kind of hand the baton back over to the news team and whatnot, and they get into their coverage of things and then kind of let people know what's been going on. So again, we're streaming live here. We've got the storms coming through Charleston. We're still with you here on the digital thing. Again, I said it earlier, but I came down with a cold a couple days ago, and I was doing okay. But after you talk for about 2 hours, it gets a little rough. So I apologize for my weak voice. I think I went through puberty a couple of times there. little cracks in the voice, but that's what you're going to have. So, yeah, I still need to grow up, says Jacob. He's not wrong. All right, so Charleston, you guys are getting hit there pretty good right now with that line of storms. Right as I look at this line, I mean, they're intense storms. Don't get me wrong. I'm not seeing the same kinds of rotation we had earlier. I will say this, there is a little something that's down southeast of Sigel on that storm, extreme southwestern corner of Cumberland County, but it's fairly weak in comparison to what we had earlier. What we're going to do here, since we're going to have a little bit of time to kind of look at some things, I actually want to go back and take things back on the radar and kind of show you guys again where it was pretty clear to us that we had a tornado occur. And I'm just going to do this right now. I'm just going to pull this back up. There's Jacob again. Come back over here. And let's come back and see if we can't bring back the velocity to the point where that storm was coming across. So it was about at this point when we were looking at things saying, all right, this was kind of the beginning of some of the rotation. Okay. So we look back there, that was at 3:09 p.m. Let's just kind of move this along. Oop. Wow. Look how fast that thing moved. That thing was rocking. So right there near Elwyn. So there's your circulation right on Elwyn Road. Okay. And I believe it was this next scan is where I was like, okay, this is where we've got something. And boom. So right there. That was the best scan that I saw the whole time near Harryland Road, Turpin Road, Baltimore Avenue. That right there is where we definitely had, and here's what I can do. I can switch over to the correlation coefficient. And there you go. That's the debris signature. We actually even had it. Looks like we even had it right here. Let's see when it first popped up. Yeah, so it first popped up right there on Elwyn Road. So what that tells us is that's where you have the tornado, that lofted debris at some point there. So it could have been right there just east of 51. Jacob's Road. Jacob, I didn't know you had a road over there. And so then that's your tornado debris signature. TDS, as we call it, or the scientific term, the correlation coefficient. So that tells us tornado because it's lofted debris. So it comes right over that east of Turpin. So here we go again. Bentonville Road. That's your tornado debris signature. Lost Bridge Road. And this is exactly where we've got multiple power outages. So the debris signature there, that's where you've got the greens, kind of the green yellows. It's a lower correlation to a normal sized object like a raindrop. So it's oblong. It's a different shape. And that's what the correlation coefficient tells us. So then it continues and almost gets kind of spread out a little bit. That right there, you're kind of getting where there might still be debris lofted. So sometimes tornadoes can still kind of carry, some of the lighter debris, papers and things like that still up in the air, or, twigs or, some smaller leaves. I guess there's not really too many leaves, but notice how it kind of gets a little bit more scattered in nature. And so, it's not as confined. And that's when we think potentially maybe the tornado lifted, but still maybe had some of that debris lofted up there. But that was where we clearly had the tornado pass through. The question is how long was that thing on the ground for? But it passed just to the north and west of LaPlace. But that is the general area, just to kind of give you guys an idea of where that was as it came through between Long Creek and Mount Zion. So just wanted to kind of show you guys that. But again, that was definitely some of the better areas of rotation that we had the whole time, and so fast moving. So again, still pretty good rotation there on the storm when it came through. Again, that was around 326. So it was about, I would say between 316 and 326 is about the time where we think we had that tornado occur. So that's what we're looking at there with the storms that came through a little bit earlier. Okay, just to kind of bring you back here to what's going on. I know the folks here in Coles County are going, yeah, that's great and all, but we've still got a pretty good storm over here. Ashmore, you know, you guys are getting hit there. Westfield before too long, and then eventually into southwestern portions of Edgar County. You got the Kansas area. All of these are severe thunderstorm warned. None of these are tornado warned, but they're all still pretty intense storms that are rolling through. It looks like things have calmed down in the Mattoon and Charleston areas there. Oh, all right, Seth, what are you seeing over there?
Yeah, let me get things switched over here, and I will kind of take over and pick up where you left off. It looks like yes. Okay,
kill me for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we're just going to kind of turn things over to velocity here for a little bit. Just kind of study up and down this line, kind of see where things are a little more active. So I'm up. Let me kind of zoom out to show you where I'm at. So I'm going to zoom on into Vermilion County here, out closer to Danville. What we're kind of watching for is some of the bright colors that might indicate that we are looking at some strong winds here. So we're kind of looking at this as it passes through Danville. Also keeping in mind some of these darker colors as well. I'm going to turn up my microphone just a little. There we go. Now it looks like my volume's where it should be. So we're just going to kind of studying these features as we move up and down this line, because there is just a little bit of that weak broad rotation, a few spots. You can see in particular right there where Hume was, now where Metcalf is popping up. Just that little green dot and a sea of red, just kind of an area of interest to watch out for any kind of potential rotation in that sort of region. Also, it looked like a new severe thunderstorm warning added down across the southern portion of our area. That pretty much fills in the line of severe thunderstorm warnings. That one looks like it picks up there on the eastern half of Effingham County and takes it over to Jasper County as well. But also just kind of watching these little features. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing too prominent, but it's kind of the beginning of something. If it is going to turn into some sort of rotating storm with any sort of tornado potential, you just kind of watch out for these sort of features to see where those kind of evolve with time. And just to see what happens with that as the storms continue to push on through. Let's take a look at a few weather cameras, because we've got some action in Danville right now. And this is quite the look in the sky, too. I'll get that pulled up here for you. And you will see rain coming down at a pretty good clip. And it looks like I have the quad shot there, which is fine. I can give you a look at a different set of cameras, but let's hone in here on this Danville one. You see the rain coming down at a really good clip, but also a clearing in the sky too, just kind of an odd look to things as we look off there to the west. So even though it's coming down in sheets right now, things are going to become a lot quieter there before too terribly long as that storm sweeps through that particular part of the area. Let's go over to Effingham now, see what's happening on that one. Looks like Effingham's kind of just on the finishing side of the storm. Actually looks like on our camera there at the nothing is actively happening. I think this particular part of town has cleared the storm. If we swing things all the way back here to the east, you guys should be able to see that storm advancing that direction. This is how it may not look like much here from this view, but that is where still the core of the storm is, looking out that direction. You can even kind of see closer to the horizon, some of those darker colors, kind of some more detailed cloud structures that way. We're looking at that in Effingham, even though the storm has come and gone through that way. So it is. And now it looks like we're kind of in between a few warnings right now. Some warnings have been lifted there across a good chunk of the area. One thing I want to bring up, because I was just talking about this here with the rotation on some of these storms that we need to continue to keep an eye out for. National Weather Service actually has, in particular, a spot of rotation that they're keeping an eye out for near the Effingham and Dietrich area. So, and I will take us down a little closer to the surface. We're going to have to use the Evansville radar here. So I'm going to make sure that we are using that one as we zoom on in here, which it currently is using, but sometimes I zoom in and it likes to take a different radar instead. So we'll set it to Evansville and we'll zoom on in. And you can kind of see this particular area here, just immediately west of Dietrich. Again, it's not anything crazy. It's not anything that is imminent, but we're also looking really high up in the radar scans with these. The Evansville radar is several miles away from Effingham County. So is the Lincoln radar. So you're looking at the really upper levels of the atmosphere for this core of rotation. Video. But you got to have some sort of organization aloft to have something of note at the surface. So just watching this to see how it evolves And what I'll do to kind of detail how it has evolved in the last 30 minutes, I'll put this this velocity imagery in motion, and let's see if we can slow it down even more than that, because that feels like it's racing across the screen. So again, we'll keep our eyes out right about here in this particular area as that core has kind of come together a little bit more. It's kind of organized itself. That's not to suggest that there's any kind of rotating storm directly over Diedrich right now, or that there's any sort of tornado on the ground, but just something of interest, maybe farther down the line as it crosses over to Jasper County. We'll have to watch out for that.
That's where it's still
but
recording,
aside from that, no sort of tornado warning issued out there right now, just maintaining that standard severe thunderstorm warning. It actually does not, to my eyes here, have that tornado possible tag, and it indeed does not. That doesn't mean that they can't at some points put that on there, especially with the tornado watch still in effect. Any of these storms will continue to have the chance to rotate farther down the line. Let's look at the area-wide view of things. The good news is the storms are largely about to exit the area. We'll put those in motion too, and you'll notice that a good chunk of the line where the most activity has been is on the Illinois-Indiana line right now. So it is heading on out. It is exiting stage right and getting ready to wrap things up. Really, the only kind of spots we have to continue to watch are just this line here from around Danville or so, all the way down to parts of Effingham County into Jasper County right now. So still watching this portion of the line, because there's still some untapped warm and moist air as we move into parts of Clark and Crawford counties as well. That is where the storms can continue to tap into some of that instability and eventually perhaps strengthen a little bit more. And we just saw it happen right there. Severe thunderstorm warning extended over into our Indiana counties there. That includes parts of, I believe that's Indiana, Vermilion County, into Fountain County as well. Not as familiar with my Indiana counties as I am Illinois, but those are kind of the general areas that line of storms is starting to head at this moment in time. So I am away at my computer here, which is away from the streaming chat. So I'm going to meander over there while I keep this radar on and just see if anyone's got any sort of reports. And I noticed that Kevin's mic was still on, so I've got that taken care of now. Apologies for that. That's on me for not being over here at the main station. So Kevin's microphone is off now, and it's just me chit-chatting here. Hopefully it wasn't overlapping too much. But anywho, now here's the look at things. I'm going to take a look at some of the chats and see if there's anything going on there. Again, apologies for keeping Kevin's microphone on there. I should have seen that part coming, but he's been at this here for a while, and I think both of us are just kind of ready for things to quiet down here, so that way we can kind of just get our bearings a little more straight here. One thing I'll do also is we will turn things over to the rainfall. I want to see how much it's rained here with this line of storms. We've had the severe weather, which has had its impacts here across the area, but I also want to take a look at how rainfall has evolved here with time as well. So we'll let that load up here and give it a sec, because it always takes some time for that to load on in. So it is not, let's see here. Okay, so our rainfall totals have plotted on there. It's going to be very scattered in nature, as you can see here. The dots aren't all connected. It's probably better off if I point to some of these as opposed to throw plots on there. It's kind of these green dots. That's where you're seeing upwards of an inch of total rain here for as long as these storms have been around. So just very hit or miss spots. Hopefully you got some rain, because that's the part we actually cared about here with this line of storms. But if we just throw a little seeker there into Coles County, we'll be able to tell in that green area a little over 1 inch. So anywhere you see kind of that actual true green color, that's where some of the heavier rainfall took place. But it's very scattered in nature. Notice it kind of just looks like an echoing wave there as it moved on through. So kind of a roll of the dice whether or not you got some good rainfall out of this. Again, hopefully you did, and avoided some of the worst of the actual severe weather impacts. But that is what that looks like. Looks like, again, it was just kind of more of a roll of the dice whether or not you got anything good in the way of rainfall. I'm going to turn things back over to radar imagery now, and we will see these storms continuing to push off to the east. And again, if you haven't heard one of us say it already, as this line moves through, anyone to the west of it is in the clear. As colder air starts to move on in, more stable air starts to move on in, that air starts to sink a little more, and it starts to become a lot easier to kind of reading stuff as I'm talking here, so I'm not paying attention half to what I'm saying. Essentially, you're in the clear once this line passes on through. There's nothing really on the backside of it as far as any sort of unstable air. One way we can illustrate that is bringing up the tornado watch area, which is technically still in effect until 8 p.m., but they continue to trim those counties as that line advances. So even if you are in a place like Piatt, Moultrie, Shelby, Montgomery, Fayette County, your severe weather chances are effectively zero now. There's really not anything to be too concerned about. So even though the watch hasn't officially been peeled off just yet, we are certainly heading that direction. And we're starting to get in the clear with these watches and active alerts, which of course is a good thing. Another thing I want to bring up is the temperatures, the dew points, to kind of show you where that more stable air is starting to rush on in. We'll give you the regional look at that. Look how much of a difference there is there with these colors. So Effingham's at 68 still. That was last check probably about 30 minutes ago. So that rain moving through probably cooled things off a little bit. But you usually don't see temperature differences this drastic in one map. It's 68 in Effingham, but it is 49 in Springfield, 30 in Galesburg, and 17 degrees in Des Moines, Iowa. So we're talking about from central Iowa to central Illinois, a difference of about 50 degrees, which is just absurd. And later on tonight, I'll pull up our wind chill here, and we're going to see just how cold it is going to get. And it's kind of ridiculous because it was 70 degrees for somebody across the area today. And by the time we wake up tomorrow morning, it might be like -5, -10 somewhere. So we joke a lot about, Illinois weather. If you don't like what it is, wait 10 minutes, it'll be something else. It's, it feels like an overused joke, but it's so true sometimes, especially in this particular case, because it was 70 somewhere today. It was bringing, tornadic storms, strong winds. And now all of a sudden we're talking about wind chills into the negatives. It just doesn't make a ton of sense whatsoever. But you know what? That's weather sometimes. Weather doesn't make a whole lot of sense depending on the time of year. It's not supposed to be 70 in December. It's not supposed to, be 60s on Christmas Day, but that feels like something that's happened each of the last couple of years. And that's what's next. And on top of that, I don't have a graphic assembled to show anything, but I will warn of a potential flash freeze in a couple of spots because of the temperatures heading down into the teens tonight and the wind chills heading closer to zero. Any kind of moisture on the ground is going to pretty quickly freeze. So we might have to watch out for that tomorrow morning. To what extent? Not entirely sure on that, but it is certainly going to be a something tossed into the equation that is going to be worth watching and following there, just because we're kind of in severe weather mode right now. We've been talking about this for the last couple of days. It seems impossible to switch to winter weather mode just that quick, but it is going to just as quickly head that way here by the time we get to tomorrow morning. The good thing with all this is there's no 50s or 60s for temps into the next week or so, which is bad news, I guess, for some of you that really enjoyed the nice mild air. But it's good news because you got to get those 50s, those 60s to really get severe weather here in the wintertime. You can do it at some pretty chilly values, relatively chilly values, but you really need to get up here into those 50s and 60s for stuff to happen on the scale that it has today. So that'll be something else to watch as we get on into the new week and the new year, of course, with that being just a few days away. So this line largely getting ready to exit the area, but don't want to let our guard down just yet. If we take a look at things on our velocity product, which I will make sure to click the right one here so we get some useful colors, not just some mumbo jumbo popping up there on the screen. So let's switch back to this particular version, and that did me no favors because it was still showing the blue. But if we kind of take things here from the Indianapolis radar, the Evansville radar, we're still kind of watching some pockets there where there might be Just a little bit of collision of winds there. Let's see if I can get my arrow to pop up. There we go. So like parts of Jasper County right here, you can kind of just tell a little bit of a difference, a contrast here in the colors. That kind of shows you where winds are swirling around a little bit more and where things can materialize together into rotation, but not always the case. It's just kind of the spot you look at when things do trend that direction. Doesn't mean that they always head that direction. So continue to watch out for that. Expect some pretty strong winds along this line as it moves on through. And after that, nothing behind it other than, like I said, that cold air. If we want to look at this post-front air mass and kind of what it's doing, it switches the focus away from thunderstorm winds and places it on kind of just widespread winds in general. So I'll pop on the current wind gusts and look at some of these readings. Again, thunderstorms are out of Champaign, out of Decatur, out of Springfield, but you're still seeing gusts between 40 and 50 miles an hour that way. So that can continue to toss things around. It may kind of feel like it's still storming out there with winds that strong, but your severe weather threat is over in those places that I just mentioned, still ongoing for some places along I-57 and off to the east. And take a look at some of your comments if you do have some as well. I'm curious to see what you are seeing wherever you are. And make sure to let me know where you are with your reports as well, so that way we can continue to get views from wherever you are at. Let me see if I can pop back on my radar here. I did see someone just kind of mention one place that's still in line for some of these storms. That would include out there in Paris, where I'm absolutely certain things are getting very rowdy out that way. And you'll see what I mean here once I zoom on in. You probably already know if you are there yourself. Look at parts here of Edgar County. You just see that really dark red line. Of course, that indicates some pretty heavy rain, but also probably where our strongest winds are at as well. And that kind of carries down south a little bit into parts of Clark County and really all the way over into parts of Jasper and Cumberland counties as well. So this kind of thick red line does have quite a bit of a span on it. This particular portion right here, as it makes its way into Clark County, not severe warned, doesn't mean that there's not still 50+ mile an hour wind gusts in there as well. But we're really starting to see things come down and eventually exit the area. Maybe there's this one core kind of southeast of Paris that still looks relatively strong in nature. If we pop in on velocity and take a look, and we'll try to get some of the other radars there. You can kind of see some of those brighter pinks, but again, we're looking really high up in the radar with these. So you're going to see pretty strong wind signatures. Wind just kind of naturally is stronger the higher up in the atmosphere you go. But as far as right there at the surface, I'm still sure it's rather gusty in nature, and thus why that severe thunderstorm warning continues. But there's probably only about 4 counties, I'd say, that have much to worry about here for the rest of the evening. And those particular counties would be into Jasper County, Crawford, Clark, and Edgar, maybe even just a couple of spots west of that. Like I said, maybe Cumberland County, maybe still parts of Coles County still dealing with that. So I'll pop up my radar picture here. And yeah, we, I don't think, have too much longer to go with this. In fact, the actual severe weather is probably very isolated here in coverage across the area. So we've kind of gotten through the main events, but still watching out. And this, it's not like the line has weakened any, because we zoom out, we can see things are still warned all the way up and down this line, but it's now kind of a northwest central Indiana problem down into parts of southern Illinois too. So the good thing is we just have a few counties that are left in that line, and then it's pushing out to the east. Not like things are weakening too much in nature, but the tornado threat maybe has come down a little bit as it's moved off to the east. It's become a lot more linear in nature. So we are going to hopefully see this thing see itself out here before too long. Don't think I have a whole lot of useful cameras left here still. Let me take a look at maybe Effingham. I know we're behind the storm there, but let's see if we can see anything worth seeing on that camera. And of course, whatever you have to report as well. And I forget just how quickly it gets dark around here. So we've kind of lost some of our daylight and can't see quite as well out there in Effingham, but you can still see in the distance some more of those detailed clouds kind of closer to the horizon, where that stronger part of the storm is continuing to push. And it looks like we've got a new warning, severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Clark and Cumberland County. So maybe they have kind of refine the warning box here a little bit. So let's take a look at that and see what is up with these new warnings. And there we go, right there. So we've got that one man across parts of Clark County. Again, as this line still has some pretty good strength to it, some of these darker reds, that's probably where things are going to be pretty gusty, pretty rainy there for maybe no more than 30 minutes. These things are moving awfully quick, and they're awfully thin in nature as well. In fact, let me just take a look at part of this line here and just measure how wide it is. So from AC down into far southwestern, again, this thing's like maybe 6 miles wide, and that's not very wide. That's maybe as wide as the severe part of a lot of storms get, but usually there's some rain on the backside, and it just kind of ends. Once you get the severe threat over with, then the impacts just end, and that's all she wrote for that. And then it just becomes kind of gusty in nature, and that is pretty much it with that. I've been showing you the kind of statewide view of the temperatures. Let's look at the just kind of coverage area, see how drastic the difference might be as this front pushes on in. So there you go. It is 68 in Effingham. I venture to guess it might be close to 70 still in a place like Lawrenceville, but look up to the north and west. It's 37 in Jacksonville. It's 42 in Springfield. Just in our coverage area alone, there's a 30-degree difference in temperatures. So if it's still a little bit warm and moist where you are, just give it another couple hours, and all of a sudden you're going to be talking about some winter temperatures and some wind chills that are going to just plummet. In fact, let's go ahead and look at the wind chill. So keep this in mind, your 60s for temps, your 30s and 40s for temps as well. Those 60s are still going to say 60-something, but those 30s and 40s now kind of look like 20s and 30s, 25-degree wind chill in Jacksonville. So I said how there's like a 30-degree difference in actual air temps. There's about a 45-degree difference in what it actually feels like. It is 68 in Effingham, but there's a wind chill of 25 in Jacksonville. So just crazy difference in the air mass here as this front moves through. This front means some serious business and is certainly one that is going to, like I said on one of my posts I made the other day, it's going to make some joints sore. I mean, spring today and then winter tomorrow. Usually you don't hop that many seasons there. But we're seeing it with the dew points as well. The moisture content, we've got 60s for dew points in Effingham, Paris, Petersburg, and that quickly plummets to 30-something as we look off to the west. So back to our radar picture now, where we're still tracking just a few segments of the storm here as things largely start to move out of the area, but still a place like soon to be Newton here into parts of maybe Marshall, Casey as well. You're going to get some really heavy rain here for a quick period of time. Again, the rain might not last for more than half an hour, but these rainfall rates are pretty intense. So you might end up with an inch of rain despite only having rain for 30 minutes or so. So the rainfall rates are pretty good on that. Not super electric storms. I kind of haven't been plotting lightning too much, but you can just kind of see a few bolts up and down the line. You maybe hear a few rumbles of thunder there, but it's not really electric stuff. Just kind of not in the cards here with these particular storms. And of course, as thin as these storms are too, you're not going to have a ton of lightning, and then there's just less space for that to happen. So those two just kind of go hand in hand in the first place, but not going to get a whole lot of warning from Mother Nature itself with the thunder booming in the distance. It just kind of shows up on your front door, drops the rain, drops some strong winds, and just as quickly exits out. So places like Newton up there into Hidalgo, up to Casey, soon to be Marshall, and parts of far eastern Edgar County, eventually into the Terre Haute area. Those are the spots that are still seeing the storms. And just as I said that, a severe thunderstorm warning issued for parts of western and southwestern Indiana, including the Terre Haute area as well. So eventually going to be something they are going to track here instead of us, as we've just got a few more counties to go. They haven't really peeled back too much on the tornado watch just yet. Of course, they've got more important matters to deal with the ongoing severe storms. But if we look at that tornado watch box, which I will pull up here on my graphics, we can see still several spots, but I'm telling you, like Edgar, Clark, Jasper, Crawford counties, those are about the only ones that really need to continue to watch for stuff. All these other counties, outside of those Indiana ones, of course, can pretty much see that watch disappear in the next 30 minutes or so, and your threat will pretty much be over with for the remainder of the evening and into the rest of the night as well. So not too much here still to be too worried about. but officially do have those watches out there, despite the fact that things have really largely calmed down here across the area. In fact, National Weather Service chat has kind of gone a little quiet, which is usually a good thing. That means there's not too much to track and actively follow. But like I said, even when the storms come and go, the strong winds are the next step. I mean, we're looking at 30 to 55 mile an hour gusts as this front passes on through. And a lot of us right now, you can kind of see the direction of these little wind arrows. It's almost entirely out of the north and west now. There's very few of us that are still seeing that southern wind. So that front has moved on through. Even if the temperature difference lags behind a little bit, the winds are rushing in that cooler air. And that's a big reason why it's going to be down into the 20s tonight. The wind chill is going to be below zero tonight, because even though the cold air is still well out here in Iowa, it is just getting zipped on into the area with these strong winds. And before too long, we are going to feel more like winter than we are the spring that we felt all day long here. And things are going to change very quickly for us. In fact, I'm going to bring this up real quick, then we'll get back to where those storms are at. Your high temperatures for the next few days just look nothing like they have here over the last few days. It was 50s on Christmas Day, mid-upper 60s today, but we don't even hardly get to the 40s here for the rest of the week. We're talking about 22 tomorrow, and that's very blustery 22 degrees, and more 20s and 30s. We might not go above freezing until we get to Wednesday, which is hard to believe when you're talking about severe weather. You're talking about tornadoes. But like I said, we joke about Illinois weather. That was kind of what happened today. A typical Illinois weather type joke where it is 70 degrees. There is a tornado somewhere, and then it's below zero on the wind chill the very next morning. So it feels like stuff only we run into here, at least kind of just a Midwestern thing. But that was the story today. I'm going to kind of expand my radar here just a little bit. And oh boy, that's probably not a fun sight for people, seeing snow up there to the northwest in the parts of Iowa and Missouri. That might creep down this direction somewhat, but it is wild to see warnings up and down for miles and miles from northern Indiana all the way into southeastern Missouri, and then snow. Let me see the exact measurement here. Let me pull out the ruler and see where those snowfall readings are coming from Quincy until the closest severe storm. So we're talking about 160 some miles. So kind of a roughly a 2-hour distance between severe weather with possible tornadoes to snow. So that is that goes to show you the strength of this front as it moves on through. Pretty wild, not something you can really get used to there. That is some sharp change over the course of just a small period of time. Let me look here to see through the night, just kind of where that snow ends up, because you never know. It could march in. We get a few flurries later tonight. We could be talking about storm damage in the area during our 10 o'clock newscast, while also actively seeing a few flakes falling. So just wild stuff here. Not too much to be worried about with this snow. It's not like it's going to stack a ton or anything, but the fact that you can see flakes hours after having the tornado sirens go off, it kind of feels very backwards. It does not feel like something that should be able to happen. But like I said, the Midwest knows no bounds. That is what we do. We just see things turn on their head in the blink of an eye. And that's just how we do it out this direction. Newton down in Jasper County, probably getting pretty good rain right now. Some strong winds all throughout Jasper County as well. We head on up the line here into far eastern Cumberland County. Looks like they're largely done with the strong storms. Clark County, kind of in the center of it. Marshall, Anderson, soon to feel the impacts of this line of storms. But then after that, we kind of get into Edgar County. It looks like things, once it passes through Elbridge, are going to pretty much be done for the entire county. And then, like I said, it becomes kind of an Indiana issue for the remainder of the evening. So maybe no more than an hour to go here on some of these before we start to wrap things up and calm everything down here all across the area. One thing I will do, let me center the radar picture here and just kind of pull up something on my other monitor. I'll just kind of read out loud some of the power outages, and I'm actually kind of impressed to see some of these. Effingham County, almost 3,000 outages. That's quite a bit considering that's not where the strongest storms were earlier today. Jasper County, close to 1,000 as well. So really in the Effingham and Jasper County area, lots of outages that, to be honest, I wasn't really expecting them to be up that high, but that's the case there. Macon County still upwards of 600 outages. A lot of other places looks like they've kind of cleaned up pretty good. Iroquois County was upwards of 1,000 earlier. It looks like they are now below 100, at least according to poweroutage.us here, which tracks things pretty good. So yeah, Effingham, Jasper County, there's been some really strong winds with that line of storms that moved through. And of course we knew that, but everyone's gotten some of these strong winds, but it looks like those two counties in particular kind of took it especially hard as that swept on through. So those are some of your outage numbers. We've got about 6,700 without power across the state. And that's where we sit right now. Good thing is that number is probably not going to go up locally for the remainder of the evening as things are starting to move on out. But yeah, quite impressive, some of those outages, especially down around I-70 where it looked like things were a little more tame, not quite as exciting there for a while. But that is where we currently sit. Let me just see, curious. Let me pop on the Effingham camera. I'm just going to kind of scan around and see if it kind of looks a little darker in town in spots, see if we can pick out anything in particular. Looks pretty good out there to the east. Just going to move things around here. And it's just like that, almost pitch black out. And it's crazy how fast we lose daylight here. 5:13 p.m. I believe sunset's still closer to like 4:40-ish. So even though it didn't feel like winter today, we're still in winter time, and we lose that daylight awfully quick around here. So it doesn't look like anything too drastic as far as outages go, at least from what I can see right here in town. But of course, it's tracking all of Effingham County, not just the city of Effingham itself. So that could also be an explanation to that. Okay, let's take a look and see what else is happening. Like I said, the good thing is the Weather Service chat is really quieted things down. They did note just a little bit of rotation on the storm that is passing through Jasper County. We've kind of been tracking that one here for a little bit. Mentioned the idea of some strong winds, but let's head on down and explore for ourselves kind of some of the velocity that might be popping up on there. So we zoom all the way in. We see just east of Newton once we throw on velocity here. Again, some mild collision of greens and reds. Nothing that's really coming together too much, except maybe just kind of between here, Newton and Willow Hill. Maybe there's a little something trying to piece itself together. But again, we're looking several thousand feet up into the atmosphere here because the radar that we're using to detect this is all the way down there in Evansville, Indiana. So we're talking about a 60-mile distance there just on the ground. And as that radar beam is angled up, that distance multiplies quite a bit as we go up. So either way, there's rotation aloft, which usually means the storm is still pretty organized, still put together, still has some life to it. But as far as identifying anything at the surface, it's kind of hard to do here with these velocity products at this distance, but still an indicator that as the storm advances along, there could still be some strong wind action to take place. And of course, some brief but heavy rain moving through as well. Still haven't seen a whole lot as far as the tornado watches getting canceled. I know a lot of you may kind of be looking and seeing that you're still in a tornado watch. Again, outside of Jasper, Clark, and Crawford counties, really not much of a threat there anymore. Again, there's snow closer to you than there is severe weather in some of the places that have a watch on them still. So kind of goes to show you just how stable things are getting ready to become and kind of where we're sitting with things. One thing I'll do now as we kind of continue to keep an eye on a separate screen, some of the storms and some of the wind cores on them. I want to pop up the storm reports, and we'll just kind of explore those, see everything that happened there. And a lot of it has been concentrated west of I-57. Doesn't necessarily mean nothing happened east, but that's just where those reports are right now. And we'll see some of these damage reports, particularly around the Christian County area where things got started, at least where our tornado warnings got started. So let's take a look at this one, just north and west of Pana. Tree down by thunderstorm winds out that direction. We move up the road here into Macon County, where we certainly had some tornadic features there on those storms, whether it's velocity or, as we saw earlier, our correlation coefficient, which is just kind of a fancy way of saying a debris tracker, kind of tells you where things are being lofted. a little bit. Multiple trees snapped, possible tornado. That was a report from a chaser on Twitter. And that was kind of down here closer to the Long Creek area near Turpin, kind of halfway between Decatur and Mount Zion, a little closer to Mount Zion than Decatur. And then just in western Decatur, the west side of town there, just generic thunderstorm wind damage reported that way as well. And we've even got some strong wind gusts that have been reported. Let's see what this one is in Champaign County. Had a gust of just 44 miles an hour, so nothing crazy, but that was at the station there at Willard Airport. Some more generic wind reports. I believe this one in Springfield was 55 miles an hour. We'll double check that. Yep, right there at the airport as well. Some more damage reports up to the north. Up there in Livingston County, there was one particular section where it looked like there may have been some strong storm damage, if not maybe a little tornado damage up that way. Up there in Fairbury, power poles down, a farm building also had its roof torn off. So clearly a strong storm if it was able to pull that off. And we saw on Jacob's reports earlier out there near Forest, I believe it is, there was some damage to the school out that way as well. Had a roof kind of torn off of a gymnasium there. So just lots of stuff. And that was the morning round. That was the round that wasn't really supposed to pack as much of a punch, but we've been talking about the wind shear with these winter systems. In the winter, it's so much easier for the upper atmosphere to just have these super strong winds. The thing is, we just never tap into it because we don't have that connection down at the surface, but we did have that today. That's what instability is, kind of connects the dots between the upper atmosphere and the lower atmosphere and is able to bring those strong winds down and just kind of have it here at the surface for a brief period of time. So those are your storm reports, lots of wind reports, not much in the way of hail reports. That was kind of out there in western Illinois, kind of just outside of our area, closer to the Peoria area. So that was what they dealt with. We, on the other hand, just kind of had more of those strong wind reports that swept through, caused some very brief, but not necessarily low impact damage. And that is what happened there. Okay. So I am starting to see some tornado watch areas get taken off. Let's just kind of take a look at those and see. Again, it doesn't really change the narrative any because we know where the storms are at, but just kind of give you some reassurance that things are largely wrapping up. Let's take a peek at your tornado watch. If it loads, of course, it would help if I actually hit the load button, which apparently I didn't. So we'll pull that up and we're going to see less yellow than we did before. In fact, a lot less yellow. And it looks like the Central Illinois, the Lincoln Weather Office has taken out quite a bit of theirs. I believe Montgomery and Fayette counties are part of St. Louis's, so I'm sure those will not go on for too much longer either. Then after that, it's just a handful of counties. Like I said, Edgar, Clark, Jasper, Crawford, and briefly those Indiana counties. And then we are done. So even though it says until 8 p.m., that was kind of an initial guess when that line moved on through. It's probably not going to last more than another hour here for many of us, as that line is largely ready to wrap up. So a lot of you, based on the tornado watch, completely out of the clear, but we've known that here for some time, that threat is in fact, it's zero for anyone not in Edgar, Clark, Crawford, or Jasper counties. And that's good news here for us as well. And I am just now realizing it is Sunday, and that means there's a 5:30 newscast. So I've got about 10 more minutes worth of coverage here. And then we're going to let you see things on WCIA 3 News at 5:30, which to my knowledge is on time. I know there was an NFL game earlier today, but to my knowledge, I think things are still relatively on schedule. So we will let kind of Kevin walk you through some of the damage reports, some of the things we saw here across the area, and what little threat there is still out there tonight. Again, that's coming up in about 9 minutes or so. Not sure if we'll hear anything from Jacob either, but kind of the update on how things went today, that is coming up in a little less than 10 minutes. So we're going to also get geared for that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of give one last detailed zoom in here on some of these storms that are still in the area. And then I'll probably just kind of lazily keep the radar on in the background and just kind of let things play out, because as we get things ready for the newscast, we got to reset some monitors and all that. So we will get that all lined up and taken care of there. So again, we're not seeing too much in the way of strong winds, or excuse me, any kind of a rotation. There is still some strong winds, but really coming down this line, there's kind of a meeting of the green and red, a convergence of them. Maybe something right there, but again, we're so high up in the atmosphere, and it is not entirely suggestive of what's happening at the ground. So even if you see little notches here and there, unless they're very prominent, there's probably nothing to worry about as far as a big time rotation at the ground. But that line of strong winds still kind of continues up here close to the Illinois-Indiana line, where you kind of see the sharp differences there in the velocity. Still some strong winds to go, but maybe less than 20 miles worth of area here from west to east, still in some sort of severe thunderstorm coverage area. So largely wrapping things up here for the rest of the night as we get ready for this last Sunday in 2025. Hard to believe that things are moving along as fast as they are. But that's pretty much the situation, and we appreciate you all for choosing us for your coverage tonight. As things kind of just ramped up really quickly. I think it really got started closer to 2:30 or 3 o'clock, and here we are only about 2 hours later, 2.5 hours later, and just like that, things are really starting to quiet down, at least right here in central Illinois. Already it is 5:23 p.m. Again, we've got our newscast coming up here right around 5:30, where we'll have the latest on what happened today and a little bit about the week ahead. There's not too much to talk about. It's not like there's going to be any more storm chances, but tonight at least, there's going to be some gusty winds. It's going to turn very blustery in nature because temperatures are falling as we speak. It was close to 70 somewhere today in the area, and now it's dropping by the minute as this front moves on through and brings in that colder air mass. So with that being said, I'll just kind of let radar do its thing here for the next 5 minutes or so, and then we'll switch things over to the newscast and kind of let you get your information from that. And this is probably all that we have left on this stream. So again, just kind of watching these last couple of storms down there in the southeastern corner of the area. Other than strong winds and some brief heavy rain, it looks like you'll be in pretty good shape there before too long that way. So again, we'll keep radar up here for just a little bit, but for the latest, you've got about 5 minutes to get yourself ready for the 5:30 newscast on WCIA 3 News over on CBS. So with that being said, we'll let you continue to look at the radar picture here. But again, thank you for choosing us for your coverage. I hope you stay safe through the night. Hopefully you get power restored if you're watching us on a mobile device without power in your home right now. Hopefully that gets taken care of here before too long. And stay warm. Again, wind chills near 0 by tomorrow morning. So with that, we'll kind of just let things loop here on the radar. And that's all we've got here for your severe weather coverage. So for Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy, for Meteorologist Jacob Dickey, I am Meteorologist Seth Bonoff, signing off here on the live stream. Again, thank you for your time. Enjoy your Sunday, and have yourself a happy new year here this week.
This is your WCIA 3 forecast first, sponsored by Route 66 Solar.
Well, it was an active afternoon across parts of central Illinois as severe weather ripped across portions of the area. Reports of tornadoes, power lines down, trees down, and damage to structures, which we're going to have a live report on coming up. That line of storms now pushing off into Indiana. We're done with the severe weather, fortunately for us. But now attention turns to the cold that's coming in. Look at this map. It's still 68 in Effingham, 42 in Springfield. It is 29 in Galesburg. Major changes on the way with the temperatures that are going to be in the single digits when it comes to the wind chill tomorrow. A cold next few days. We've got to talk about what happened with the severe weather here this afternoon. Again, live coverage coming up as WCIA 3 News starts right now.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 5:30.
Severe storms ripped through the area this afternoon, and as you can see in this video, WCIA 3 was there when a tornado was spotted in Macon County. Good evening, I'm Will Simmons. It happened north of Mount Zion near Bentonville Road. So let's take it back to Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy in the Weather Center. Kevin, what are we seeing out there now, and what's to come?
Yeah, so that line of storms, it was intense as it rolled across the area. So that storm went off here to the east, that line producing several reports of damage in a lot of locations, as we mentioned. But I want to take you back to a specific time into Macon County. And we zoom in, and it was right here as this storm came across US 51, and the storm that came through right near the Long Creek area near Mount Zion. That is the area where we've had some confirmed reports of some damage when storms move through. As a matter of fact, when we look at things, we can really see it when we look at what's known as the velocity signature, and when the reds and those greens kind of come together. And that happened right here in this area south of the Decatur Airport. That is where we have our own meteorologist, Jacob Dickey, who is on scene there. Jacob, reports of structural damage there. You just got on scene. A lot happening there. Tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. We just arrived here and we saw that damage here right now. I'll show you in a second. This is what some of the first reports on social media looked like. That's a report that came on in. And so we had quite a bit of structural damage in this area. And now we find ourselves at Baltimore Road and Skyline here. Police are just pulling on scene and kind of blocking things off. I spoke to a lieutenant. He says they're shutting things down, asking people to stay away. And there's a very active presence here. There are other parts of town that also are seeing damage, and we saw first responders in that. We have not received any official information, but up the road there is some of the worst damage that we have. And you can see that crews are set up there. The road is closed right now. We're seeing people that are still walking through this neighborhood and trying to exit, carrying belongings. We're going to try and speak to some of them. Also speak to the Macon County Sheriff. The lieutenant said he'd be willing to talk to me and give me some information in a minute here as we're showing from the scene now in Mount Zion after a tornado. And again, Kevin, we showed folks that tornado live on TV. You saw that video early. That was right after it came through this neighborhood. That's something that we continue to strive to do. We want to show folks the damage after, but also the tornado before, so they can take appropriate shelter. We'll be here through the evening getting more information from one of the hardest hit areas, Mount Zion and Long Creek. However, other damage reports coming in from Pontiac, Gibson City, and Iroquois County, and some sporadic wind damage elsewhere in the area. We'll have another check of that later on. Live in the Storm Tracker in Mount Zion, I'm Jacob Dickey. Back to you.
All right, Jacob, thank you. One school in Livingston County lost part of its roof today with the earlier set of storms we saw. This was at Prairie Central Junior High in Forest. The superintendent says the roof on the west side of the gym was completely removed from the school, and there's also water damage in the gym. He says after initial observations, the educational spaces are okay. There was minor roof damage to the cafeteria and kitchen as well.
And I think we're on probably hurdle one of many right now. We've been in contact with obviously our insurance agency, and obviously we have some water damage inside the gymnasium that needs to be addressed and taken care of. We're conveniently under it. We have a wind advisory until 3 p.m. tomorrow now. So we have currently they're securing some of the roof that's remaining on the school prior to the winds becoming increasingly heavier as the day progresses.
He says inspectors will come tomorrow to make sure the building is safe, and they will be working to figure out what needs to be done before students return to school. They're scheduled to come back next Monday. Decatur police found dozens of shell casings near Grand Avenue and Illinois Street just after midnight this morning. Police say they were responding to a call of shots fired, but those involved had left the scene by the time officers arrived. They say no one was hurt, nor was any property damage reported. Police also say there was no witnesses at the scene and are asking anyone with information to call the department. We'll have more local news after this.
You're watching your local news leader, Will Simmons, and Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Seth Bonoff and Courtney Lane Brewer on sports. You're watching WCIA Great News at 5:30.
After almost 2 centuries of gatherings, one church in Central Illinois had its final service today. We told you last month Shiloh United Methodist Church in Mahomet was making the decision to close its doors. When the church started in 1852, the historians say their congregation was averaging more than 100 people. As the decades went on, there was a slow decline, but in the past year, they were only seeing 5 to 8 people each Sunday. WCIA 3's Katie Moore has the story.
It's sad and stuff because this has been a good church, a very giving church.
It's hard. It's not easy.
There were a lot of emotions and reflection at Shiloh Methodist United Church on Sunday.
The name Shiloh comes from Joshua 18:1. It's a place of worship out in the countryside is what it means, and it's a place of peace.
Judy Hardwick, the church's historian, says they got to experience that peace one last time as they had their final service.
We've just continued to shrink as sometimes 170 plus year old churches do.
Kevin Little is the directing pastor. He says with an average weekly attendance of 5 people, the church was left with a hard choice to make.
Even in churches, it takes finances to maintain.
Rose Seaton has been coming to this church for more than 40 years, and it's the place she raised her family.
I was baptized here. My parents were married here. My sister was baptized here.
Bone is Seaton's granddaughter. And when asked what the church means to her,
oh man, like everything. This is actually where I began.
She says the church continued carrying her through life.
They actually paid for me to go to McKendree University, which was a Methodist-based school.
Bone lives in Florida now, but made the trip for the church's last day for one last special occasion for her children.
We're having my 2 great-granddaughters baptized
to go out on a high note.
And though it's hard, they all can walk away with a smile knowing lives were changed because of the church.
A lot of joy and feeling like we've completed the mission of the church and that we've done well in doing so.
That was Katie Moore. Their missionary work didn't end on Sunday because of a garage sale they had earlier this month. The money will be supporting charities like Cunningham Children's Home and Midwest Mission in the future. And as for the physical building, little say it's up to the United Methodist governing body to decide what will be done with it. All right, Kevin. Well, you've been super busy. You have a cold. I'm sorry about that. But we got to tell the people what happened and what's going to happen, right?
I tell you. What a wild 24 hours. You're going to go from having 70 degrees and tornadoes to below zero wind chills tomorrow.
It's crazy.
It's always something around here. That's Decatur. South of Decatur is where we've got some damage out there. But look at the camera bouncing around and the winds. It is a very cold night that is in store for us. We'll break down what to expect and have more live reports from Jacob, who is on scene down there near the Long Creek area where we had a tornado that came through. We'll have got that coming up here, so stay tuned.
Now, Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Kevin Lighty.
All right, this was the radar earlier where some of the worst of the damage occurred. Just want to kind of give you guys a little bit of an update here. So you've got Mount Zion right here, the Decatur Airport, Long Creek, and it's in this area we've had confirmed reports of damage. Again, we're going to go back to Jacob a little bit. So this was about 3:17 p.m. earlier today when those storms came through. It was a strong line of storms. That's where a lot of the damage did occur. And some structures damage there, some roofs and whatnot. And again, we'll have a report from Jacob coming up. This is what's left of the tornado watch. Here's the thing, the severe weather threat ending as that line of storms now pushing off into Indiana. Nothing to worry about as far as that goes, but get ready. It's about to get a lot colder. Snow to the north and west here. That probably clips us just to the north. So not expecting much here locally, but boy, the temperatures are tumbling right now. Look at this, 50 in Champaign, 46 in Decatur, 37 in Lincoln, 33 in Jacksonville. It is about to get quite a bit colder. Look at this tomorrow morning. Temperatures in the teens, but it's not just the temperature. Oh no, it's the wind chill. These are the wind chills through tomorrow morning. That's right. When you wake up and go outside, it's going to feel below zero to start things out in the morning. So whatever you were wearing today, okay, you better put on several more layers for tomorrow because it is going to be significantly colder. It's also really windy. We've got a wind advisory in effect. Winds are still gusting 52 miles an hour. These are not even associated with thunderstorms. That's how strong the winds are. 52 miles per hour, and they're going to stay gusty through the day tomorrow, but those temperatures are going to come crashing down, okay? Here's the thing. Future track again keeps that snow to the north. We've got some calmer weather, so to speak, here over the next several days. No rain, no snow, but there may be some activity getting closer to New Year's Eve. We'll have to watch up to the north. Big story becomes the temperatures, again, bouncing all around, way below average. Maybe we jump a little bit into next weekend, but for the most part, that colder air sticking around. Quick look at your 7-day forecast here is going to continue to show. Again, maybe that small chance of a couple of snow showers, mainly the north there on Wednesday. Watch out for that, but it's the cold that's now tumbling in here after the severe weather that we had. Again, things are a lot calmer than what they were. The severe weather threat is done. Now the cold is the big story.
We can't catch a break here, Kevin.
We can't.
And what about all that rain and stuff? Is that going to
the rain help? Well, it is. A flash freeze could occur with all the rain, so that's something to be aware of out there tonight. But we're looking forward to more reports coming up here, though, with Jacob.
Definitely,
right?
yeah. We got Jacob coming up live next from Macon County, so we'll be right back.
The news continues here on WCIA 3, your local news leader.
We're just starting to see some of the damage from severe weather that swept through Macon County earlier this afternoon. Meteorologist Jacob Dickey is in Macon County, and if we have him here, we can ask him. Jacob, can you hear me?
Hey, real quick here, Kevin and Will. Thanks for waiting here. We're just getting some things figured out right now. We just arrived on scene to the damage here in Mount Zion. And first off, I want to talk to Lieutenant Flannery from the Macon County Sheriff. First off, Lieutenant, thanks for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened here?
Yeah, so obviously as the storm came through, what we realized it was making a straight path straight through Long Creek. We got the call that Skyline Drive, which we're on, and it hit pretty good. The deputies on scene and realized that we probably lost about 8 to 9 homes. There's probably approximately 30 homes on this street. No one was injured, which is the key thing. Officers and fire department was able to go through and make sure that everyone was out of the house. We had no injuries. We have displaced probably anywhere from 50 to 60 people on the street. Red Cross has set up some stations for them. So right now we've shut down the road. We're going to come back in the morning when it's a little bit more clear and we can see what we got. We've got a lot of damage out here.
And then you told me a story about a woman down the road here. Can you tell our viewers about what happened there?
Literally, as we're trying to get people out of home, we get a lady come around screaming that her daughter's in labor. We run down, and sure enough, she's having full contractions. Luckily, we had an ambulance on scene already, so they would get down to her. They got her out of here, and we may be having a baby tonight.
Wow, incredible story. And no injuries again, correct?
Again, no injuries. Everybody got out safely.
Okay, perfect. Lieutenant Scott Flannery, real quick, I want to show you if we can get the view here. This is one of those homes that's been hit really hard, Kevin. A lot of damage in this area. Fire department just left. That's good news, but there will still be some cleanup here. And the wind, Kevin, really cold here tonight as that cold front rolls on through. Live in Mount Zion, I'm Jacob Dickey. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Jacob. Well, we have a busy sports team as well today. Glenn and Courtney are in Nashville right now. Hey, guys, how's it going? What's coming up?
Hey, Will, yeah, we're just across the river here from Nissan Stadium. It was home of the Tennessee Titans today, but on Tuesday it'll be Illinois and Tennessee in the Music City Bowl.
Earlier, we spoke to some of the Illinois coaches and players about what makes this game even more special than the chance at another bowl win. We'll have more coming up in sports.
You're watching WCIA 3 Sports with Courtney Lane Brewer.
Well, welcome to sports from Nashville, Tennessee with Courtney Lane Brewer. I'm Glenn Kinley. We continue to bring you all sorts of coverage to get you ready for the Music City Bowl between Illinois and Tennessee. Yesterday, we talked Illinois offense. Today was defense day, talking to coach and players on that side.
That's right. And on that defensive side, a couple of guys who are gearing up to play their last games in orange and blue. Kanena Otaluka and Dylan Rosiak both came to this program in 2021. Time when bowl games were not the norm, but in their time, they've been to 3 of them. We talked to senior linebackers today about the hand that they've had in turning this program around.
Coming into what we were as a team, you know, just the continuing building of the team culture, the locker room, you know, it's been awesome to see just from where I got to where I am and just, you know, the little piece that I had in it.
You can see every year, you know, how the culture was able to kind of evolve into what, you know, Coach B stands for, which is tough, smart, dependable. We definitely had some hitches in there, you know, up and down a little bit. But I think that we got a great group of guys coming back that can really be able to set the tone and keep that culture alive.
This last game of the season, not just special for guys who have been at Illinois 5 years, also one last college opportunity for D lineman James Thompson. He spent just this one fall in Champaign after transferring in from Wisconsin, but he says ending his career with this team and with his family in front of attendance is expected to be a surreal feeling.
Man, I appreciate my dad came to every single bowl game I've been to, and I'm a junior, so I'm named after him. So I'm very proud of my name, and like especially seeing my dad come there and support me and everything, like it means the world to me. So it's a very special moment for me, and this is my last college game too. So having my dad there for my last ride here in high school, in my future career, it's very, very awesome.
It'll be no easy task for this Illini defense. Tennessee ranks first in the SEC in points per game and second in yards per game. They've had a couple opt-outs, but still a loaded offense that the Illini will try to slow down. But Glenn, not just football to talk about today.
That's right. We got the whole sports team on the road today. While we're here in Nashville, Tristan Thomas was in West Lafayette this afternoon, where Illinois women's basketball beat Purdue to extend their winning streak to 10. We go to him now.
Well, the first Big Ten road win of the season didn't come easy for Illinois women's basketball, but in the end, it's an 83-73 victory over the Boilermakers and the Illini's first win at Mackey Arena since 2015. This just the latest accolade in the Shauna Green era at Illinois. While appreciating how far this program has come, it's on to the next for the Orange and Blue.
You've got to be proud of what we've done, but we're just never going to be complacent. There's so much more ahead, and we know it's one game, but you gotta take pride in growth too. We've come a long ways in a short time, but we don't ever want to settle. We're going to stay hungry no matter what.
I think a big part of it is just our preparation and our approach to the games. I think we've had some really good practices, and we're locking into the scout, and we're following that during the game, and then just our responses too. We know the teams are going to go on their runs, and it's a part of basketball, but the way we're coming together and responding from that is huge.
The Illini now 12-1 on the season, 2-0 in Big Ten play, and making another case here to move into the AP Top 25. Reporting in West Lafayette, Indiana, for your Illini Nation, Tristan Thomas, WCIA 3 Sports.
All right, and Tristan has more from that game back here tonight at 10. Of course, we've got more coverage, not just tonight at 10, but really the next 2, 3, 4 days from here in Nashville. Tonight at 10, but then tomorrow, 6:30. Be sure to join us, 6:30 p.m. for the Illini Nation Bowl special. We'll give you everything you need to know ahead of kickoff between Illinois and Tennessee on Tuesday.
And that's on top of all of our normal coverage on our website and on all 3 of our social media channels as we get ready for Illinois to look for back-to-back bowl wins. For Glenn Kenley, I'm Courtney Lane Brewer here in Nashville, Tennessee. We'll send it back to you.
Thanks, guys. We'll be right back.